Okay. Are we on? Yeah, we're on. Cool. All right. So, hi everyone. I'm TeamRuler15 and welcome to my rant stream, which is, well, it's still a live stream, but instead of playing games, we're just going to be talking about random stuff. I didn't really feel like playing any games today, and I'm not really prepared to. Um, I, you know, I'm sorry about not posting lately because it's been a tough week for me, with all this schoolwork and stuff. I really didn't have time for. Plus, I agreed to take a few shifts at work. Um, kind of screwed up my study schedule a bit. I don't know why I did that, but I was able to get most of my stuff done. Keyword being most. Don't worry, though. Don't worry. It'll be fine. Anyway, um, but I'm here now. Things should be back to normal, at least sort of back to normal next week. Oh, technically tomorrow, but you get the idea. Um, hey, Tan Man, what's up? I didn't see you there. I haven't seen you in a long time. That's what I meant. Okay, yeah, about this. I decided I had this idea recently, and apparently somebody else in the chat did too. Um, and I talked about it with a few other people who regularly watch my streams, and I thought, okay, why not? Because, I do rants quite a bit in the streams for video games, and that's good and all, but why not have a stream that's dedicated to just that? You know, I think I should just do that. Of course, we're still gonna play video games, but probably gonna be. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue doing these. I don't know. This one's just a test run and see how it goes. Okay. Yes, Jesse, I know this was your idea too. Um. Oh, hold on. Gotta have some water. When you speak for a long time, you need some water. Hold on. Oh, so that's why you haven't been around. Okay. I should watch your YouTube channel sometime. I'm talking to Tan Man, by the way. Okay. Anyway, I brought this board in case I ever wanted to illustrate my shit. Okay then. That's embarrassing. Um, um, yeah, I brought this board here in case I wanted to illustrate any of my ideas. So, what is the rant on? I don't know. I'll talk about what I want to talk about, and I'll talk about what you guys want to talk about. And you'll notice that I fixed the background a little for this stream because I decided to put the webcam over here, and I made the chat window bigger. And I centered the message below the screen a bit. I didn't like how it was in the previous one. New Super Mario Brothers Wii. I've already done that game. Oh, and right. Um, well, no, actually, I don't need to explain anything in the document, like how to ping me, because I don't need to explain things like that because I already linked it in the document in the description. So, okay. And of course, you guys can ask me questions along the way too. So, what else should I talk about first? Well, first, let me answer these questions and greet everyone. First, hi Zoe, Tan Man, what's it to you? Jesse, Mr. Gitsin, um, Ayami, nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Damn. Jason. Okay, so what am I going to talk about first? Well, first I should answer that question. Anyway, as I said before, I've already played New Super Mario Brothers Wii. I don't have the Wii U version. The Wii U game, I mean. It's not really a version. It's a sequel to the Wii game. I don't have New Super Mario Brothers Wii U, just New Super Mario Brothers Wii, and I've already done it. And in fact, that was the first stream that Green DBZ joined. I mean, that he saw from me. Yeah, yeah. That's the first time he became a regular on the stream. The first time Jesse was a regular was on Mario Party 7. Tammin has been here since pretty much the very beginning. It was either I can't remember exactly when though. I know he was here. I think it was the movie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was around during the movie. But and I think Battle for Bikini Bottom came after that. I did Light SquarePants, then the movie, and then Battle for Bikini Bottom. Scott has been here since the very beginning, actually. Uh, and there are a few others too. GD, I've actually known GD for quite a long time, but I haven't really communicated with him that much until I started streaming. And Avery, he's been here since the beginning too. Oh, you've been here since the last video of Sonic Heroes? Why? Huh. Well, okay. Anyway. Okay, time to answer these questions. I already answered the first one. The second one, is my computer or laptop Windows 7 or Windows 10? Windows 10. Because why not? It was free for an entire year. You might as well take up the opportunity. Granted, it was shit when it first came out. I hated it, but eventually it grew on me. Of course, there's a stupid Cortana assistant on Windows 10. I never use it. She's just like I didn't care for her in Halo. I don't care for her here. I don't. But yeah, Windows 10. This is my Windows 10 PC. But again, that was my old PC, which is right here. It's a, it's a brick of a computer. A brick. Like it's a literal brick. Like it's really thick. Like see, look at how thick it is compared to my new one, which is really thin and lighter. But see, this thing is durable. It's durable. I've never dropped it, but it's durable. Like it's got it's got some wear and tear on it, but it's nice. I like it. I like this computer. I like that computer a lot. But I like this one too. Um, and this one right here, the computer I just showed you guys, that was actually originally Windows 7, which I upgraded to Windows 10. The new one I have here came with Windows 10, Intel Core i3 7th generation. It's a nice computer. It's twice as powerful as the one I just showed you. Although I don't like that it's Core i3. I'd rather have Core i5. But Core i3 7th generation is good still because it's 7th generation. Um, because I know this because the computer I showed you guys was actually Intel Core i5, but yet that processor isn't as strong as this one because this one was an earlier Core i5 build. But yeah, anyway, what else I'm gonna say? But yeah, this is Windows 10. This computer came with Windows 10. But you know, I really don't care much for Windows 10. I only use what I need to use, and that's it. I don't care about OneNote. Is that what it's called? Or Outlook or Dropbox? I mean, I do use Dropbox. Outlook, no, I never use it. I don't even have an Outlook account actually. But whatever. But yeah, that's it. Windows 10. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Okay. So you finished Kingdom Hearts 1 and now you're on Chain of Memories. Alright, cool. And yeah, that's actually the way you should play the series in that order because that's how the story continues. You can't go from Kingdom Hearts 1 to Kingdom Hearts 2. No. If you go from Kingdom Hearts 1 to Kingdom Hearts 2, you'll miss important shit that happened in Chain of Memories. Which is really stupid. Okay, ooh, I'm going to rant about Kingdom Hearts for a moment. But let me focus on getting all these other questions first. Just remind me about Kingdom Hearts because I have to rant about that. Um, but somebody asked me about ranting about Sonic first, so I'll focus on that, and then I'll move on to Kingdom Hearts. Okay, worst YouTuber I have ever seen. Ooh, there are some content. Well, actually, I don't think I have. Huh. Worst YouTuber I've ever seen. That's a good one. I don't know. Anita Sarkeesian. She's a contender. Because I watched her video on tropes versus women in video games? Is that what it was called? Whatever it's called. You know, the series that she only did a few videos on despite having all this time and all this funding. I don't know. I mean, it's six figures. She got 6 figures of funding. What over $100,000? $100,000 of funding for her stupid Kickstarter video game project about tropes versus women in video games. It's really stupid. And I hate the way she described Mario, like the Mario universe. Like in the game of patriarchy, Princess Peach is the ball and Mario and Bowser are the players. No, bitch, that's not how it goes. Peach is not a trophy. Bowser treats her like a trophy, but Mario doesn't. See, here's how it goes. Peach gets kidnapped by Bowser. Mario rescues her and she thanks him. Mario doesn't treat her like an object. In fact, she doesn't really do much in terms of thanks. She only gives him a kiss and at most a cake. She doesn't put out, not that I expect her to. It was more of a joke. Don't take that the wrong way. Um, but yeah, Mario's a decent, outstanding guy who would never treat Peach like a trophy. Like he saves her all the time without expecting anything in return, other than a little affection. Um, ooh, hold on. Oh, hi, Blue Typhoon. Uh, Sorry guys, I did not refresh this chat thing. Okay. Oh, you've watched some Lights Camera Pants too. Cool. Uh, I've seen one of the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailers actually, just one of them. One that had Toy Story in it, and I thought this is lit because I love Toy Story. I don't remember the first movie all that well because it was so long ago. And I remember the second movie really well because I've watched it so many times. I think I had it was either a DVD or a videotape. I'm pretty sure it was a videotape. And number three, the number three I remember. Well, I also remember number three fairly well, but that was only because it's the most recent one. And I'm pretty sure that's where this Toy Story series is going to stop. They might do more, but I think I think number three was a good conclusion. Okay, you guys didn't miss much. Hi, Charlie. Um, who? I think that's all the people here. Okay. All right. So, Sonic. Actually, let me take care of Kingdom Hearts first because, mmm. There is definitely something I want to rant about Kingdom Hearts. Now, Kingdom Hearts has had a lot of games over the years. I've only played the first one though, but I'm well aware of the others. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a complete noob when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. Um, so there's the first one, Chain of Memories. The second one, uh, I can't remember the exact order. There's Dream Drop Distance, Birth by Sleep, Birth by Sleep 02, 358 over 2 days. Is that what it was called? Again, I don't play Kingdom Hearts, so I can't remember, but I do know a little bit about it. Um, Shoot, I'm trying to remember more. Kingdom Hearts. There are more. I know that there are more. I can't remember. uh, I'm trying to remember. I know. There's one that's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember. Oh yeah, yeah. I first met you, Mr. Gibson, on Modern Warfare 2. Okay, I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember. There are more Kingdom Hearts games. I know that there are. Recoded. That was one. Recoded. Yes. Is that all of them so far? I can't remember. I think I mentioned all of them. I don't remember. I can't remember. I could just look it up right now though. But you get the idea. Kingdom Hearts has had a lot of games, and for some reason, somebody at Square Enix or Disney or whoever thought it was a good idea to release all these games on multiple consoles and not just one. Multiple consoles, which would be fine if they were consistently released on the same consoles. How Tomb Raider was released on um, the classics anyway. They were released on PlayStation, PC, Dreamcast. You didn't really have to worry about those. Here, Square Enix didn't do that. And so they released Kingdom Hearts on several different consoles. With most expecting people to actually go out and own all those consoles just so they could play the games. And I'm just like, seriously? And only later did they decide to compile all the games into just fewer games. Like one, I think one Chain of Memories and two was on one, and then Birth by Sleep 358 days and uh or something. There were three on one and three on the other, and I think there are more. I don't remember the whole thing. But the point is that only later did they decide to, you know what? Let's condense. Let's make this a little neater and put all these games into one console, which is what they should have done in the first place. But better late than never, I guess. Um. Anyway, okay. I can only answer one question at a time, so be patient. I'll answer your questions. Um. Let's see what else. I think that's it. Oh, and another thing. The storyline. Okay, I don't mind. What the hell is that noise? Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, what was that? Oh yeah, the storyline. Kingdom Hearts. The storyline. Now, I don't mind convoluted storylines. I don't. But what I don't like about Kingdom Hearts is that it's so needlessly convoluted. I don't mind a complex story, but Kingdom Hearts is just so needlessly convoluted. There's no reason for it to be that convoluted. Um, because it just seems like when you look at the cutscenes, you get the impression that the writer's just making things up as he goes along. I doubt he actually tries to remember all these details and make sure that the continuity is not screwed up. I mean, not all of it's messy, but some of it is. But but I think that's all I have to say on Kingdom Hearts. I can't really say much more because I don't know that much about the series, but to me, but you know, yeah, it doesn't need to be that complex. Complex is good. Well, when it's told well, but it's just like he's just adding more and more shit, like just making stuff up as he goes along, and I don't like that. But yeah, that's all I have to say on Kingdom Hearts. Let's see. And yeah, you'd pretty much have to, and as I said before, not have releasing the games on different consoles. The Kingdom Hearts games. That's going to make it harder for people to follow the already convoluted story. So, if you don't have recoded, I mean not recoded, Chain of Memories, oh well, you're out of luck. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see. There was another question here. All right, so I guess I could go talk about Sonic now. But Jesse asked me a question. Have I ever read the books behind me? A few of them. Most of them, not really. Those are these like these. There are some textbooks right here. Some of them are just elementary school literature textbooks. Some of them are SAT workbooks. Some of them are fiction. Uh, there are some that I tried to read several times but can never bother to finish because I was like, boring. Let's see. I have I have classics like The Giver. If I can just find it. Oh, here it is. The Giver. The Giver. At first, I didn't really care about this book when I was a child, but reading it, I read it recently. I think it was last year when I read it, and I was like, damn, that book has some seriously fucked up implications. Um, I'm not going to spoil anything, but just read it for yourself, and you'll see why I say that. Let's see. There's Ender's Game. I have Ender's Game. I completely forgot I even had this book. Actually, I didn't think I had it. Well, no, actually, my sister. This is my sister's book, I think. So that's she had it. She only got it a few years ago, so that's why I didn't really pay much attention to it. But I have Ender's Game. I watched only the movie. I didn't read the book, so I don't know. I don't know the whole story on that. I have Halo: The Fall of the Reach, which is essentially the prequel to the first Halo game. I only read the first few chapters though. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it really is an origin story of the Master Chief. Okay, I think, but other than those, I've never really read. Ooh, Jane Eyre. I have Jane Eyre. Ooh, I have Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre. I actually like this book. I thought it was going to be boring at first, but it's actually not a bad book. And of course, there's this Children of the Lamp series. I only read book 2, not 1 or 3. Let's see. That's it, though. And there are the SAT workbooks and a few Bibles. A lot of Bibles. But yeah, several Bibles. Okay. Okay. But yeah, and that's for the piano, which is really a keyboard, but you know, semantics. This is my sister's. She doesn't care if I play it, as long as I don't break it. I've used it for singing lessons a few times, but then I stopped using it. So I was like, whatever. Um, there are no nearby wall outlets. There's one over there, but it's too far away. Like it's right over there, but it's just out of reach. So I can't play anything. I had a piano workbook here, for basic piano playing. I can't play piano without the fingering. I did take piano lessons when I was a child, but I never got past the beginning stage. I can't play without if you put numbers on the notes, I can play it. Although but I haven't played this in a long time, so I'm probably really rusty. And that's just without the numbers that tell you what you fingers to use. But I can't play without the numbers. So I never really played. I never really did much piano. I should take some piano lessons though. But I did. But my sister used this a lot more than I did. Um, I never really used it all that much. So that hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm gonna be 23 in 20, not 23. I'm gonna be 24 in 8 months. Damn, I feel so old. I'm not old at all, but I feel old compared to because most of the people at my job are actually young. So yeah. Okay. Do I sing? No, I do, but not very well. I mean, I can sing on key, but that's it. And even then, I sometimes mess that up. But I really have been told that I have a good sense of pitch, which is something that a lot of people don't start out with when they start taking singing lessons. So that's good. And I'm not bragging. I really have been told I have a good sense of pitch because I do have some musical background. I did take singing and piano lessons when I was a child, and I've been in choirs in middle school. So yeah, that's why. Uh, but I was a better singer as a child than I was here because you know, yeah. Okay. I damn. No, I damn. Why not? I damn is fun. We should do I damn. Okay. Speaking of SpongeBob, I'll sing I damn in a moment. Let me talk about SpongeBob first. SpongeBob is. What the hell is even written on my shirt anyway? My mom got this from somewhere. I don't even remember where. Oh, San Antonio, duh. Okay. Yeah, she went there once. Okay. Anyway, oh, it's a museum and it was the San Antonio Museum of Art. Cool. Anyway, yeah, SpongeBob. After the movie, SpongeBob hasn't been the same. I'm not gonna be a nostalgia whore because you know I'm not gonna because the classics weren't perfect, but they were better than the newer ones. They simply were. In terms of quality, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. They simply were because the newer ones have some really poor writing. Now, for the first few seasons after the movie weren't bad, but after that point, no. I was like, no, no. And the series got even grosser, than it was before. Like in one episode, SpongeBob tries to track down Gary and finds his slime trail and licks it just to find him. I'm just, why, SpongeBob? Why? Ugh. Okay. I only sang the full song of I Damn a few times. It was once at the very end of Sonic Heroes, and again, I can't remember when. I think I did it 2 times, or I think it was either 2 or 3 times, but whatever. But yeah, the characters. Oh, the characters. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, SpongeBob. SpongeBob was weird and quirky in the original, but not to the point of creepiness. Now he's just creepy and ugh, he disturbs me. Like in one episode, like in one episode, when SpongeBob and Patrick were out selling Krabby Patties in a mobile vehicle. Why did I say mobile vehicle? And in it's just one of those things that you like. It's like an ice cream truck, but for patties. Uh, they were going around selling stuff on that, and SpongeBob saw Squidward, and then he said, "Bye, Squidward. Bye, Mr. Krabs. Bye, Squidward." And then Patrick said, "You said bye, Squidward twice. I like Squidward." And I'm like, why? So it's just, sometimes it's just, and Patrick, Patrick, this mother, oh, he used to be. Now, granted, Patrick has always been stupid and a bit of a jerk, but in the older seasons, it was written better to the point where he'll piss you off a few times, but then you're like, he's not so bad, you know, he's an all right guy. Now it's just I want to strangle him because I do. In one episode, oh, okay, and this is probably his worst appearance. This is his worst appearance ever. Yours, mine, and mine. And I know a lot of you will know about that episode because that is actually one of the worst episodes that one of the worst Patrick episodes ever. So Patrick's at the Krabby Patty. He wants a Krabby Patty, but he doesn't have money for it. SpongeBob um gives him money, and they were supposed to share the meal, but Patrick eats it all for himself. Um, I think it was yeah, and the Krabby Patty meal had a toy in it. Uh, and it originally didn't, but Mr. Krabs made one for Patrick, and which was also supposed to be SpongeBob's because SpongeBob bought that entire meal that Patrick didn't share at all. Um, and why do I always make pauses like this? I'm just gathering my thoughts. Okay. And Patrick keeps the toy all to himself throughout the entire episode. He doesn't share it, even though SpongeBob asks him politely several times because it's his toy too. And then SpongeBob at one point has had enough, and said, "Patrick, we need to talk. This is my toy, and I deserve to start play with it." And Patrick can't even let him have it for just 1 second. He's just that self-centered. Like he's worse than a child. Because even children are not that selfish. They can be close, but see, the thing is, at least children feel some remorse when they do something wrong. Patrick, even though SpongeBob and Patrick make up at the end of the episode, well, no, they really didn't, but there was a resolution at the end of the episode nonetheless. Patrick still doesn't understand what he did wrong. Because after the two fights and it ends up going all the way to the Krusty Krab, Mr. Krabs decides to give them each a toy, which is what SpongeBob should have done earlier. He should have just gotten another toy from Mr. Krabs. Although Patrick probably would have wanted that one too. And Mr. Krabs tells them that it's going to be about $6 each, which is really stupid, but it's Mr. Krabs. And Patrick, once again, uses SpongeBob's money to pay for it. And SpongeBob's like, that's my money, Patrick. And then Patrick's like, have you learned nothing about sharing? And at that point, I wanted to punch him. I wanted to punch him. I hated that episode. I wanted to punch him. Patrick was such a douchebag. Ooh, I hit the mic. Patrick was such a douchebag in that episode. Holy crap. Mr. Enter, for those of you who know about the mysterious Mr. Enter, he's a critic of shows, animated shows on YouTube. I actually like his videos. Some of them I don't agree with, some of them I do. Yeah, you should go and check him out sometimes because he really does understand how good storytelling works. Although sometimes I think he exaggerates a bit, but you won't agree with everything someone says. But anyway, yeah, go check him out. Yeah, he hated that episode too, and he and when he played that clip of Patrick saying, "Have you learned nothing about sharing?" He was like, "I certainly have. Here, Patrick, here's a grenade. You hold the grenade, and I'll keep the pin." And I was like, "Damn, that's exactly how I feel." But yeah, Patrick deserves to be blown up. Okay, and let's see, any other characters? Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs actually used to be, he was similar to Patrick, cheap and at times a little harsh, but a good guy on the inside. Now he's just a money-grubbing, evil, soulless crab. There was one episode, Krabs a la mode, where the Krusty Krab becomes so cold because Mr. Krabs won't turn up the damn thermostat, and despite Squidward's complaining, Mr. Krabs still doesn't want to, and treats his employees like shit in that episode, expecting them to go out and work in that condition. The whole restaurant is frozen, by the way. Mr. Krabs just acts like a complete asshole in that episode, not letting anybody touch the thermostat, even though it was below freezing. I just hated that guy so much. And there was this one episode, the Krabby Chronicle, where he airs everybody's dirty laundry and uses SpongeBob for it. And oh my god. Oh my god. But he gets his comeuppance in the end, though. Everyone just takes his money back, their money back from him. Although he uses the printing press to. He was running the newspaper. He uses the printing press to print out counterfeit money. And I'm like, okay, as smart as you are, you own a business where you handle handle money on a daily basis. Granted, all businesses do that, but you know what I mean. I would think you know better than to counterfeit a bunch of bills from a printing press, because bills have, and I'm a cashier, bills have certain characteristics that can't be easily replicated. You have the watermark, you have the security strip that has a UV light. Like if you hold it up, if you use a UV light, you can see the color of the strip. And it'll have some printing like USA 100 or USA 5 or USA 10, something like that. And what else? Oh, and of course there's the texture of the bill. And other stuff like that. And there are others here, but that's not the point. The point is that he would know better than to, try to replicate those bills. But at this point I shouldn't be surprised because Mr. Krabs is again money obsessed. Money obsessed. Just ridiculous. Oh, that's another. Ooh, Blue Typhoon brought up another good point. Oh, okay. But yeah, the Krabby Chronicle was a shitty episode, and I especially hated that Mr. Krabs aired out everybody's dirty laundry and forced SpongeBob to write all those horrible stories about everyone. But I don't feel as strongly about that episode as I do about Krabs a la mode, because at least in the Krabby Chronicle, Mr. Krabs gets some comeuppance. In Krabs a la mode, he doesn't. He gets away with treating everybody like shit. Despite the customers complaining about the restaurant being too cold, he doesn't change the thermostat. I just, hated that episode so much. Okay, but anyway, let me go ahead and. Okay, yeah. Now there was this one episode where he was supposed to. Um, he lost the Krabby Patty formula and he sent SpongeBob to go and look for it. And SpongeBob and Patrick go along and look for it, and they fail to come up with any leads because it's SpongeBob and Patrick. And at the end, Mr. Krabs decides to just frame SpongeBob for the um for stealing the formula, and the cops coincidentally show up, and then Mr. Krabs tells them to take SpongeBob away, but he accidentally holds out the formula in front of him, which I don't even know how that's possible. But yeah, and then SpongeBob points it out, and then the cops see it, although they should have seen it right when he pulled it out. And Mr. Krabs tries to hide it, and then the cops are like, "You tried to frame your own employee?" Well, basically, you tried to frame somebody else, but you get what I mean. And Mr. Krabs is like, "I don't want to pay $2 for it." It was $2. The whole thing was just $2. And of course, he gets a fitting punishment at the end of the story. Um, he has to serve Krabby Patties for free to everyone. And I'm just like, yeah, you deserve that, because the fact that you framed SpongeBob for stealing your formula that you didn't want to pay $2 for, you're an asshole. And there was another episode where he sold a bunch of nasty Krabby Patties that were old and spongy and moldy. But that was because he used SpongeBob as a sort of marketing scheme. Like, he would have SpongeBob merchandise so that all the customers would come in and buy and shop from the Krusty Krab more. But at one point he uses old patties that because they just happen to look like sponges, and he ends up poisoning everyone. And then he goes to court, but he gets away with it because the judge gets to use Squidward as a plaything to ride him around some sort of amusement train or whatever. And Mr. Krabs doesn't get any punishment. And I'm just like, okay. You suck, Mr. Krabs. Okay. And I could keep going about Mr. Krabs, but I've ranted enough about him. And yeah, everybody does hate SpongeBob in the newer episodes, Blue Typhoon. You are definitely right. Okay, and the Splinter. Now, I'm not quite sure what made the writers think that people would want to see that kind of shit. Like because SpongeBob gets a splinter, he can't pull it out for whatever reason. Splinters are not that hard to pull out if you get a handle on them. It's just like boop, that's it. It's gonna hurt, but it's done. I've gotten a splinter before, only once in second grade. You just pull it out, that's it. So it's not. I don't know why SpongeBob couldn't pull it out, but anyway, he gets a splinter. It gets more and more infected partly because Patrick comes over and tries to help SpongeBob, but instead he hammers the damn thing in, and then he puts some garbage on it, and then not only does it get swelled, but it also swollen, but it also gets infected. I'm just like, seriously? And I'm not even sure why SpongeBob even asked Patrick to help. Patrick is so lacking in common sense that he just destroys more than creates. He hinders more than helps. Because who could forget about the ringer? That one episode where he tried to help SpongeBob and that didn't end up so well and SpongeBob got stuck in the ringer. Patrick is just too stupid to be of any use to anybody. But yeah, the splinter was gross. And when Mr. Krabs pulled it out at the end, he was trying to hide it from Mr. Krabs because he didn't want it to be sent home early. And then at first the splinter nothing happens, but then the splinter just gooses all this green pus and juice out and it hits Mr. Krabs and I'm like, ew. But then SpongeBob's stomach goes back to normal and that's it. But that was a gross episode. Oh, and who could forget about House Fancy? Was it House Fancy? I think it was. I think it was House Fancy. Well, I can't remember what episode it was, but there was this one scene where SpongeBob and Patrick are moving a piece of furniture. It gets stuck on Squidward's toenail, and SpongeBob keeps making it worse. And then at one point, it snaps right off, and I'm like, ew. And then he slip, and then Squidward ends up tripping, and then he slips on the damn thing, and I'm like, ew. Seriously, that's gross. And it's just like, ew. Why would the writers think that any of this is what people want to see? God. Okay. I don't know what Turkey Tom is. You have to explain it to me because I have no idea what Turkey Tom is. But yeah, Mr. Krabs is a cold, heartless mother effer. The episode where Mr. Krabs decided to hang out with SpongeBob and Patrick, I thought was fine. Granted, there were a few adult jokes in there, but yeah, I thought it was fine. It was funny. It was funny. I liked it. Back when the writing was good. Um, I hated the grandma episode where SpongeBob wants to be a man, but um, he's more of a grandma's boy, and everybody makes fun of him for it, especially Squidward. Now, I don't now, granted, it's Squidward, so you should expect that kind of thing from him. But still, the way it's mean even for Squidward. And at the end of the episode, they're still laughing at him because they see him at his house with his grandma through the window. They don't know that the others are there. The townspeople laugh at him again. I'm like, you guys are such assholes. um, but yeah, I didn't like that episode. What's my favorite SpongeBob episode? Ooh, I don't think I have a single one. Ooh, Sailor Mouth is a good one because sorry, I got too excited there. there's um there's a lot of swearing, a lot of funny swearing. Like when SpongeBob and Patrick go into the restaurant, and SpongeBob's like, "Hi, Patrick, how the fuck are you?" And Patrick's like, "Pretty fucking good, SpongeBob." Let's see. But then Mr. Krabs tells them that they shouldn't be saying those words. And then they say those words again. Then they go and tell Mr. Krabs. Then at one point, um, Miss SpongeBob and Patrick are racing to the Krusty Krab, and um, SpongeBob can run faster than Patrick, obviously. But Patrick takes an ice cream truck as a shortcut. He hitches it right on the back of an ice cream truck. But the ice cream right when you get to the Krusty Krab, like right before he gets to the Krusty Krab, there's another road, and the ice cream truck turns that way. It's so that was so funny. Like Patrick's like, "Haha, I'm gonna get there first," and they're like, "Oh no!" when it goes the wrong way. And then sometimes laughing. That part was just so funny. You thought you were gonna get there first, Patrick, but I'm like, "Nope, the ice cream truck went the wrong way." Um, but that's one of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob. Another would be I'm trying to think because there are so many good ones. Ooh, probably the Krusty Krab training video. That one was funny. Where they teach you about how to be a good Krusty Krab employee. Because remember, nobody wants to be a Squidward. Okay. Anyway, that's another one of my favorites. And I like how right at the end when they're about to tell you what the secret Krabby Patty formula is, the screen just cuts to black. That's it. It's just instant. I'm like, so close. Damn it. And of course the hoopla. Who could forget the hoopla? That was funny. Sounds like a lot of hoopla to make a Krabby Patty, right? Wrong! Oh yes, who could forget about the diary episode where Squidward reads everybody's diary to SpongeBob like the asshole he is, and even though he gets punished at the end, he's still doing it. And I like how hypocritical the townspeople act. They were reading the diary along with Squidward, but when SpongeBob finds out that Squidward was reading the diary, he gets mad, he gets upset, and then goes off, just runs off. And then the townspeople all turn on Squidward, and they're like, "You shouldn't have done that." I'm like, "Bitches, you were doing it too. Don't be hypocrites. And speaking of the Bikini Bottom townspeople, these guys, sometimes they're really nice, and sometimes they're just downright horrible. Like the Bikini Bottom townspeople are such jerks. There are so many instances of them of their being jerks. They're just so mean. Like they've been mean to. I just, God. Like the one time they made like the one time they made fun of SpongeBob for wearing a silly wig. It was silly, I admit it, but he was being himself, and I hate how they treat him like that. And another episode where there are other episodes. I'm trying to remember where SpongeBob, where Pat, remember that episode I mentioned earlier where SpongeBob got stuck in the ringer after Patrick tried to help him, but made things worse. Granted, Patrick was the one who got him in there, but he ended up gluing SpongeBob to the ringer. Um, I'm trying to think. Okay. Yeah. So SpongeBob at one point just blows up at Patrick, which is understandable because Patrick kept making things worse for him, and the townspeople are like, "You're an asshole." I'm like, "You don't even know the whole situation." Patrick really was making things worse for SpongeBob. God. Oops. Okay. Nathaniel Bandy? I don't know what that is. I'm just trying to look through the chat here. Okay, Hoopla. Oh wait, I already commented on that. The secret box episode. I didn't really like that episode because Patrick flaunts his secret box in front of SpongeBob, and when SpongeBob ends up getting curious about it, Patrick's all like, "How dare you? We're friends. You should never look into my private stuff like that, bitch." If you're gonna show somebody a huge secret like that in such a provocative manner, they're gonna want to find out, and you can't be surprised. You have yourself to blame. And then at the end, Patrick reveals that what was in the secret box was actually that wasn't when he finally showed it to SpongeBob, that actually wasn't the secret. He had something else, which was actually pretty like it was an embarrassing photo of SpongeBob at a Christmas party, and I'm just like, you asshole. Yeah, I just don't know why SpongeBob is even friends with Patrick. And of course, let me talk about Sandy for a moment. Sandy is she was an alright character at first, but then she became this mad scientist. And I'm like, okay, granted she was always smart, but science was never really too much of her shtick. So and I really and I kind of don't like it. I don't. I mean, I like that she's still about science, but not to the point where it's pretty much her entire character now. All she talks about is science. I don't like that. Yeah, and she's pretty much a pointless character. I remember when she actually had character back then. Not anymore. Now, granted, character changes aren't always bad. Like sometimes changing the character can actually make them better. Like I'm trying to think of an example. There's this one character in this video game named Trauma Team. He used to be cold and, well, not cold, but not exactly warm either. He used to be a cold militant part. He was part of this terrorist organization. Um, but then he left that terrorist organization after they were busted, and he ended up becoming a more human, more down to earth, more compassionate person who had an interest in music. And I'm like, I actually like this version of this character much more. I won't say who it is, but you get the idea. So changing the character isn't always a bad thing, but more often than not, I see changes in characters as like I can recall several characters that got worse. Like there's this old sitcom on Nickelodeon. It was called Victoria. She was Victoria Justice and Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande played the character of Kat. In the first season, Kat was ditzy, but not ditzy to the point where she was stupid. She was just a little stupid sometimes, but she was still not completely ditzy. She was still a normal teenage girl. Now, if you look at the later seasons, that's all she is. She's just stupid and airheaded and doesn't really think, can't really mentally function all that well. And she talks in this even more high pitched voice that sounds like she's sucking on helium. And I'm just like, I don't like what they did with her character. And Jade, ooh, in that show, Jade becomes, she used to be just a mean girl, but now she became this horrible monster that just that's just mean to everybody who comes within a 10 feet radius of her. And I'm like, bitch, calm the fuck down. And of course, there are other examples, like how in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, you have this character, London Tipton, who originally was stupid, but not to the point where that was her only, that was only all she was. That was all she was. She had some character, and at times she was smart. But if you go to The Sweet Life on Deck, which is a spin-off of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, that's really all she is. She's just stupid. She's even more stupid than before. That's all she is. She's just stupid. She's silly. She constantly hurts herself, says really dumb things, even for her. And I'm just like, I mean, I don't mind it too much. It's not too bad of a hit on her character, but it kind of ruined her character. Okay, anyway. Victorious wasn't a bad show, but I liked the first two seasons later more than the second two. The second two were weaker than the first. Okay, anyway. Old school Cartoon Network. Ooh, I could talk about that I could talk about that for a long, 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 long time. I can understand why you don't like the live action shows on Nick. Now Drake and Josh, oh well, except Drake and Josh and iCarly. Drake and Josh was actually not a bad show. I liked it a lot. I should watch reruns because it was such a good show. It was funny. Especially that one episode where Josh, in order to distract the parents, Josh fucking chucks an avocado at the lamp and it just explodes. And then and then the mom's like, "What the fuck?" I'm just like, that's so random. That was a funny show though, and Josh was usually the butt monkey of the show, along with his friends Craig and Eric. And Drake was the guy who was always lucky, never was treated badly, except by his sister Megan, that bitch. I fucking hated that bitch. But she was a good villain, and at times she actually did care about her brothers. I could list all of them now, but they're few and far in between. Anyway, but you get the idea. It was a really funny show. It was a really funny show. Um, Not the funniest show I've seen, but funny nonetheless. And there was iCarly. Now iCarly, like Victorious, I thought iCarly started off great, but then got worse over time. I mean, granted, the characters do develop throughout iCarly, but they but at the same time, the writing gets kind of worse. Like Carly. Oh, Carly. I used to like Carly. She used to be a very good girl, but now she's a manipulative bitch. She is. I hated her. I hated that bitch. And Sam got more likable though, a little. Freddy is the same. Gibby, I never really cared about Gibby. I always thought he was a pointless character. They made him more relevant in the later episodes, but I still didn't care for him. Spencer, he was alright. Kind of liked him, kind of didn't. You know. Um, but yeah, I thought the show started off really well. I liked the first and second season and the third one. The others, I just stopped watching after the fourth season, to be honest. Okay, but in Zoe 101, I like that one a lot. That's probably my favorite out of all of them. Well, along with Drake and Josh. To me, those two tie. And then it would be iCarly and then Victorious. But then, like, that was back when Dan Schneider made good live action shows. But then he made Henry Danger. And I watched the first episode. I didn't like it.
it was as if Dan Snyder didn't know how to write comedy anymore, and I'm like, nope, not watching this. Yeah, London Tipton was so fucking stupid in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and she was even dumber in The Sweet Life on Deck. At least in The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, she had some common sense. Still stupid, but still had some common sense. God, Henry Danger was shit. Yeah, it was. It was. I only watched one episode, and I'm like, nope, sorry, nope, because you could tell that Dan Schneider was kind of losing his edge after when during the third and fourth seasons of Victorious. That was when he started not writing so well anymore, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch this. And the laugh tracks. Yeah, the laugh tracks. Now, laugh tracks can be good if they are used well. Because oh my god, there are these shows that use laugh tracks for almost everything. Like, um what was it? What was this show? I'm trying to remember what it was called. Bunked, which is a spin-off of Jessie, the Disney show Bunked. Now, I only know about this show because my cousins would watch it when I visited their house. My cousin I would watch it over there with my cousins. It's actually not the worst Disney show I've seen, but it could be so much like sometimes I think that I mean granted I don't think it's a good show, but I think it has the potential to be good if they would just get rid of the fucking laugh tracks. They have a laugh track for every line of dialogue. I like farts. I like science. Oh, he's so cute. So fucking stupid. Every line of dialogue in that show has laugh tracks. I'm like, your shit's not funny. Stop. But yeah, but yeah, the original show that is the spin Jesse. Bunked was a spin-off of Jesse, you know that Disney show with Debbie Ryan. The original was better. It just was because it had fun. It had more funny moments, and the laugh tracks were nowhere near as obnoxious. Now, granted, it still wasn't all that funny, but it was still funnier than whatever Camp Kikiwaka was, or whatever the fuck it's called. Anyway, all that or Keenan and Kel. Keenan and Kel. Now, this is going to be an unpopular opinion. I kind of didn't like the show. At times, I thought the writing and acting was lame. Well, or maybe it was. No, I think I'm not. I don't think I'm saying this correctly. I think it was just Kel I didn't like. Not because he would always ruin the plans that Keenan had, but because his character just got on my nerves a lot. Keenan too, but to a lesser extent. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd still like the show, but mm, you know, I felt that the writing wasn't as good as I thought as it should have been. I don't know how to explain it, but I really wasn't always a fan of that show. Sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't. Um, all that, all that was good. The first few seasons, anyway. After that point, I just stopped caring because they had so many seasons and so many new characters. I'm like, I'm just gonna stop keeping track of this. Like all 11 seasons, I can't do that. Only the first few. With that character, I can't remember what her name was. Lori Beth or whatever her name was. Um, who was also on the Steve Harvey show. Um, she was a good character. I actually liked her segment where she would give advice. What was it, advice? And then she would say some really random shit. And then they replaced her with this guy, this redheaded boy, who wasn't nearly as funny. And I'm like, yeah, all that wasn't the same after that point. Anyway. Oh, oops. Oops, I moved the camera a bit. Courage the Cowardly Dog. That show always creeped me out. Not in a bad way, just more of like okay, this is weird. It was meant to be though, but yeah, that show was definitely something. But yeah, I still watched it anyway. It was an interesting show. The Eustace, the husband, nobody cared about him. Nobody gave a fuck about him. Most people didn't. They didn't care that. I doubt most people cared that sometimes he would be eaten or zapped or whatever, and only the wife, Muriel, would be saved by her dog Courage. Um, but yeah, that was an interesting show. Um, did have some fucked up shit in it though. Okay, anyway. Now, Jesse. Yeah, Emma. Ooh. I'm glad you guys were commenting on this because for a second I thought nobody was going to comment on the rant I did on Jesse and Bunked. Now, Jesse wasn't a funny show, but the writing to me was better than in Bunked because in Bunked, again I said that there's a laugh track for every line of dialogue. I've watched enough episodes to know because I was watching it with my cousins and I was like, I don't have anything else to do. Why don't we spend some time together and watch this show? And I'm surprisingly, even though this show wasn't really all that good, I felt that there was something about that made me want to keep coming back to it because I felt that underneath all that superficial garbage, there was some goodness to it. But yeah, okay, back to the character Emma in Jesse and Bunked. She never really had much character. She was as shallow as a kiddie pool. Even in Bunked, where she's older and supposedly more mature, she's always about boys and makeup and dresses and all that shit. It's a stereotypical shit, ridiculous. And I'm just like, bitch, get some personality. And she started to dress up like a hoe. It doesn't surprise me. Because again, she was obsessed with outfits too. Because now, teenage girls do care about that stuff, but at least a lot of them do. But not to that extent. Because that now, granted, she was like that in Jessie too, but she had more character. But now it kind of went away, and she became more of that. But Billy and Mandy and Dexter's Laboratory, those were good shows. I hated Dee Dee because she would always wreck Dexter's shit and not feel sorry about it in the least. And there was this one episode where Dexter was they showed Dexter's entire childhood, which consisted of nothing more than Dee Dee just smashing all of his stuff and Dexter being really really sad. And Dee Dee's just happy about it. And I'm like, this bitch is so sadistic. And yet she never tells that the parents about Dexter's lab. I guess because then she wouldn't have anything to smash anymore. So, whatever. Billy and Mandy, I actually like that. That's probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite cartoon from Cartoon Network. One of my favorites anyway. Yeah, that show was deep. Like it was funny. It was funny sometimes, but it also had some deep messages that you kind of got as a kid, but and now would fully get as an adult. And I like how the show didn't treat you like you were dumb. It didn't treat anybody like it was dumb. Like even though some of the messages were deep, like kids could still understand the themes. Not all of them, but definitely some of them. Like Billy and Mandy actually doesn't treat you like you're stupid, and I appreciate that about the show. It was deeper than other cartoons at the time. And of course, who could forget Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure? That one was I like that movie. Especially when at the end where Boogie is just constantly getting shitted on and literally at one point. And everyone's just laughing at him. And I'm like, he deserves it. Oh, Craig McCracken was on that show, and apparently so was Seth MacFarlane and Butch Hartman. Yeah, I can see that. You can see some of the if you I guess you can see some of their animation styles in that show. Mandy. Now Mandy, even though she was a bitch, she she was at heart an okay person. Sometimes anyway. Sometimes she was just downright ugh. But sometimes she was a decent character, and I liked her. She was smart. She knew what she wanted. Like she didn't take shit from anyone. She was like Medea, but more but smarter and and more collected. Um, but yeah, she was a good character. I liked her. Sometimes I didn't. Sometimes she was just a bitch, but sometimes I liked her despite that. And Billy was Billy. Sometimes he was funny. Sometimes I just didn't like him. Like that one episode where he got mad at Grimm because he thought that Grimm was going out with his girlfriend and he got really jealous and started beating Grimm up. I did not like Billy in that episode. Now I understood why he acted like that, but you know, despite Mandy's trying to explain to Billy that Grimm didn't have anything to do with the relationship and like Billy still beats Grimm up, and like he just beats Grimm up throughout the entire episode so much, so many times. And I'm like, why doesn't Grimm fight back? I just did not like Billy in that episode. I'm sorry, I didn't. Okay. Um. But yeah, now let me talk about. But yeah, that was the old Cartoon Network back when it was good. Along with other shows like Samurai Jack and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and the Powerpuff Girls. All very good shows. Had some they all had some downfalls, but no nothing's perfect. They were all overall very good shows. Uh, let's see. How long have I been talking? An hour. I didn't think I'd make it past an hour actually. Ed and Eddie. Ooh, now I have an interesting history with that one. I thought the show was okay. I thought it was decent, but honestly, I didn't really like a lot of the characters except Johnny. And even then, okay, now let me explain I didn't like all the characters. Now, granted, these are how they were supposed to be, but keep in mind that you can accept a character for who they are and still dislike them. Sarah was a bitch. Jimmy was a whiny, pansy ass kid. Rolf always talked about goats and farming and shit. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Talk about something else. Kevin was just a dick. That's all he was. That's all he was. That's all he ever will be. He was just a bully. Johnny, he was all right, but that wooden plank of his was getting on my nerves a lot. He would not shut the fuck up about it. The Kanga sisters, actually, surprisingly, I didn't like them either, but they were actually the ones that annoyed me the least out of everyone. Surprisingly, I guess my guess is that because I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I actually rather have them than other characters like Kevin and Sarah. Because the Kanga sisters are at least not mean. They're just love struck and crazy. Let's see what else. Any other characters? There's Naz, who's who's actually the most decent character on the show, but she's kind of boring because all she really is just to be Eddie's love interest. Um, let's see. Well, let's talk about the Eds. Eddie, the mischievous guy, Ed, Edward actually, the smart one. Ed, the dumb one. Um, so mischievous, smart, and dumb. All three pretty much complete each other. I thought Eddie was all right. I had mixed feelings about him. Ed, I thought he was okay too. Sometimes a bit too dumb for my taste, but that's how the character was, and I'm like, I'll just have to accept it. And Ed, I actually liked. I think Edward was my favorite character on the show because he reminded me of myself, my younger self anyway. Always trying to do the right thing, always trying to, kind of a nerd, all that stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with being a nerd, but you get what I mean. Now, granted, I wasn't like exactly like him, but he reminded me. I was somewhat like him, somewhat. Um, but yeah, that was an interesting show though, especially since there were never any adults around at all, or any other kids for that matter. But Eddie was a decent character, you know. I liked him sometimes because they were pretty much misfits, all three of them, and they hung out with each other despite not being compatible at all. Okay, Johnny Bravo, Codename Kids Next Door. Johnny Bravo was an alright show. One thing I didn't like about it was that Johnny was always getting beat up by women. And it was just, at first it was funny, but then it just got really old over time. And I'm like, okay, that's enough. Because he would always try to be a ladies' man, but then end up pissing the ladies off. Codename Kids Next Door, that one was a good one. Although the implications of of a show like that is just, but it's just ugh when you think about it. Because adults are evil, teenagers are evil, and healthy food's evil. And as a kid, you're supposed to have fun and not work. And I mean, granted that I don't have a problem with like that part as a kid, but like healthy food being evil, where you eat broccoli and all of a sudden you become a zombie, like, and junk food's supposed to be good for you. Like the implications of that show kind of bother me now. Now, if you're eating something like Grandma Stuffing's cooking, yeah, I can understand why you'd end up like that, but it's just healthy food. It's not going to kill you. Johnny Test. I was about to say, you better be playing. I'm not watching a show like that. I watched this one episode where of Johnny Test where Johnny and his dog are experimenting with gum. They're blowing a lot of bubble gum bubbles, and Johnny's sisters make this gum for Johnny to test, and then this guy, I don't watch the show that much. I don't remember what his name was, but the villain of the show, he tries to make a bubble gum that makes all the kids float away. Um, Johnny and the dog end up popping all the bubbles so that the children could come floating back down, and then Johnny sends the villain away in a bubble. And you know that show that was just a really weird episode. Like it was just it just seems like it was just an episode made entirely for somebody's fetish. Like it's just it's just really weird and bizarre. But that was the only episode I watched of Donnie Test. I've heard a lot of negative things about it, and that one episode, when I watched that one episode, I was like, yeah, I can see people's point because that was the only episode I ever watched. Sonic Boom, eh, I don't really have enough. I haven't watched much of it to form an opinion on it, but from what I've seen, it's mediocre. It could be better, but I mean, it could be worse, but it could be better. You know, I just feel that sometimes the show is good, sometimes it's not. You know, and I don't like how at one point in like at one up I recall this one episode where the characters, you know, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy couldn't do anything, even saved couldn't do anything like save the world without Sonic. But when Sonic shows up, they're like, "Yay, Sonic's here!" And then he saves the world in a few seconds. I'm like, "Yeah, great, nice work, writers. You just shafted three other characters who could have very well handled this situation by themselves without Sonic." Because I'm just yeah, and I don't like Sonic's characterization. Well, I kind of don't. I don't hate it too much, but I kind of don't like it either. I don't like it, but I could tolerate it. But yeah, Sonic is essentially a cocky asshole in that one. Tails is, I think he's pretty much just himself. Knuckles is dumb, even dumber than he. Well, he really wasn't. He wasn't always the brightest crayon, but I wouldn't say it to the point of being dumb. He was just below average intelligence. And Amy's just a perkier version of herself in the video games. Yeah, but see, the thing about Sonic being cocky is that he was always cocky. Let me rephrase that. The thing about Sonic is that he was always cocky, yes, but not to the point where he was an arrogant douche. Like he would always be like, "I'm better than everyone," you know. I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm awesome. I'm cool." Like all. He was never really like that. He was just like, "I'm the fastest thing alive," and then that. His arrogance stopped right there. But in the show, that's all he is. Just an arrogant asshole. Not a character with any depth or like any other personality traits. But whatever. And Shadow and Sonic Boom, I'm not even sure why they bothered putting him in there. He's just pointless to me. Okay, Teen Titans Go. Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that. That show has poor writing, poor characters, really stupid. Like I only watched a few episodes. There was this one episode where it's Cyborg and Beast Boy go back in time and then end up ruining the lives of their friends, and they don't seem in the least bit sad about it. And I'm like, what the fuck? And there was also this one episode where Cyborg fell in love with one of the villains, one of the girls, the the female villains. Actually, I didn't think the episode was the worst episode I've seen. It's just, it's just, and I think that I thought it was an interesting episode because having a hero and a villain fall in love. I thought that was an interesting take, but um, but everything else surrounding that idea was just really badly written. So the episode ended up being really ridiculous. But yeah, then again, the Sonic Boom series is a different canon, so yeah, of course Sonic's personality is going to change. But anyway, I'm not saying that I can't tolerate Sonic in that Sonic Boom series. I could tolerate it because he still does have some character. Not all of it's there, but he has some. But I still don't like Sonic. Even if it's a different continuity, I still don't like the personality. I don't. Anyway, and why is Teen Titans Go still going? There shouldn't even be a movie. There shouldn't be. Okay. Um, the Powerpuff Girls reboot. No. So many things wrong with that one. It's not even Powerpuff Girls anymore. It's just about the girls living normal lives, occasionally doing some hero stuff. It's just more about the girls playing with social media and talking about memes and all that kind of shit. No, it's not Powerpuff Girls. Because the reboot did show some promise when they first started showing those trailers and clips, and but then when you see the show, I'm like, nope. And then they added a fourth Powerpuff Girl named Bliss. I'm just like, why? She didn't need to be there. I don't mind her, but she doesn't really need to be there. She doesn't. Mm, but whatever. Okay, now let's leave the realm of cartoons and um talk about Sonic. Sonic. Ooh, well, let's talk about 2D Sonic first. 2D Sonic. I honestly, some people are. I call them the. I mean, well, I don't call them that. Some people call them nostalgia whores. The ones who say, "Oh, 2D Sonic was the only good Sonic out there." I'm not of that camp. But I'm not so thrilled about the 3D Sonic games either. I prefer them to the classics, but I'm not so thrilled about them either. Because the classics, well, I can't comment on Sonic 3 and Knuckles because I barely played that one. I mean, I managed to get up to Zone 5, but I stopped playing after that point. Even though it had a save system, I stopped playing after that point. Um, the classics, the first and second Sonic games, they had the problems of being difficult in all the wrong ways. Like the level design at times was just really unfair and frustrating. And you guys can see this in my live stream of Sonic Mania Collection, where I end up dealing with a shit ton of hazards that I couldn't see in time or couldn't get away from effectively. And I'm just like, and at one point I rage quit and I was like, nope, not playing that again. Because one of the final bosses of Sonic 2 requires you to go through an entire level filled with its own crazy pitfalls and traps and all that shit that could very easily cost you your life if you're not careful. Even if you are careful, you could still very well screw up. And then you have to fight a boss at the end of all of that. Why? And then I ended up And then the collision detection in that game. I'm not. I swear I touched the ring when I lost my rings. I swear I touched that switch that I was supposed to touch in order to damage the thing or whatever it's called, and I die. And that was like the third time. I think it was the third time I tried that boss. Now after that point, I was like, nope, not doing it again. Sorry. But yeah, 2D Sonic was more consistent in quality. That's one thing I can say about it. But I can't comment on Sonic 3 or Sonic and Knuckles. I can't because I haven't played those enough. But for when I played so far, I've only played like the first two levels of Sonic and Knuckles in the first. I don't even remember how Sonic 3 played. But the first two Sonic games really weren't all that good in terms of level design and programming. Sonic 3 and Knuckles definitely improved on that. Did I ever beat the Death Egg Rogon in Sonic 2? I didn't even get to that point. I couldn't get past Wing Fortress. Was it Wing Fortress? I think it was. You know, the platforming level that comes after the plane level, where you navigate Eggman's air fleet and then go and fight one of his machines. I mean, the 2D Sonic games are hard, definitely, and I like that, but not in the right way. And then you have the 3D ones, which are easier but less consistent in terms of quality. So, like, okay, right? Hold on. Yeah, Sonic 2 was even harder than Sonic 1. I didn't really have a lot of problems with Sonic 1. I just didn't bother finishing it. But yeah, Sonic 2 was a hot mess. I never managed to beat that game. Um, like that live stream I did on the Sonic Mega Collection, that actually wasn't the first time I got to that point of the boss. That wasn't the first time. I got to that boss, the Wing Fortress boss, like a long time ago, but I died on that part, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing this again. I already spent too much time getting to this point. I'm done. I'm done because I lost all my continues and all my lives. Um, And then here I am again a few years later, I think, because I haven't touched Sonic Mega Collection in a long time. And then I lose again, despite playing this level 3 times, like, playing better because I had more lives and more continues, and still messing up at the end. And I'm like, nope, not playing that. Sorry. Sonic 2 was just a mess. Yeah, I think that Sonic 2 is the weakest of the classics. I think the level design is more interesting than Sonic 1's, but it's also worse. So, yeah. Okay, anyway, SA1 and SA2. And then you have Sonic Heroes, or Sonic Zeros, Shadow the Hedgehog, or Shadow the Edgehog, Sonic 2006, and Sonic and the Secret Rings. Let me not use an ampersand. Yeah, pretty much. Blue Typhoon nailed it. Sonic 2 is a lot of trial and error, and not even the good kind. Like, if you want games that have good trial and error, play a game like Mirror's Edge, where you're doing parkour. That game has trial and error, but it's not to the point where it's ridiculous. Like, it's not unfair. Where it's unfair, I mean. And if you do practice enough at the game, you'll rarely mess up. Because there are speedrunners who can play the game without screwing up more than a few times. Um, Sonic and the Secret Rings. I can't comment on Sonic 3 and Knuckles, as I said before, because I haven't played those games enough. I don't even remember what the levels of Sonic 3 were like. Sonic 3 was definitely still challenging, but not as BS as Sonic 2 or 1. Okay, Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic Unleashed. Sonic and the Black Knight. I'm only going to go up to Black Knight. Actually, I'm going to go up to Generations. and then Sonic Colors, actually. I think Sonic Colors was after that, or I can't remember. And then Sonic Generations. I probably got the order wrong, but whatever. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that. Oh, shit. Okay, so let's start with SA1. SA1 was a great, well, I wouldn't say great, but it was a good game. I had fun with it because most of the gameplay styles were actually programmed really well. There were some I didn't like, but there were some that I really liked. Um, and there was one gameplay style that was just pure shit. Biggs. His story is the shortest out of everyone's, but it's the most poorly designed. There's just so much wrong with it. For starters, the controls are sluggish and weak, and at times unresponsive. And then what else? But it's not too bad if you're just doing the C missions. Now, if you're doing the B and A missions, where you're not catching Froggy, but you're catching a certain size of a certain sized fish, well, they're bullshit because you can't tell. It's because all the fish look the same. You can't tell who's heavier than the other. Like sometimes you can tell, but sometimes it's not so obvious. So you end up having to guess and guess and guess until you catch the right sized fish. And the shitty controls and the fact that it takes so long for fish to bite down on your lure, it just makes it's just so fucking annoying. Even with all Big's power ups. But yeah, Gamma stages were all right. Amy's stages were boring to me, but they weren't bad. I just found them boring. Some people liked them, a lot of people didn't. That's just how I feel. Knuckles' stages were not bad. I liked them. Although not as much as Tails' and Sonic's stages. I like those two the most, especially Sonic's. And especially since Sonic had the most stages out of everyone. I'm like, yes! His story was the longest and the most enjoyable. But yeah, that was SA1. Now let's talk about SA2. SA2. Now, SA2 was an interesting experiment. There weren't any more hub worlds, so the game was more streamlined. You would just go from stage to stage in the story. Except, it was even more divisive than the first in terms of gameplay styles. Like you had three different gameplay styles, technically, with two characters for each style. Sonic and Shadow had the action stages, which in my opinion were the best. And then there were the treasure hunting stages, which in my opinion were the worst. And the mech stages, which in my opinion were just mediocre. Although some were good, like Cosmic Wall and Lost Colony. I like those. And Weapons Bed. I loved Weapons Bed. When Weapons Bed, you just blow the crap out of everything, just like in Cosmic Wall. Especially with the Laser Blaster power up that makes your missiles, that makes your explosions have a bigger radius. That shit's awesome. But yeah, three different gameplay styles, which polarized the Sonic fan base. They're like, some people liked the treasure hunting stages, some people did not. And yeah, but yeah, but see, my problem with SA2, I think it's not as good as SA1 because SA2 is worse in terms of level design, and here's why. In the treasure hunting stages, you have, oh crap, shit, I keep moving the damn thing. That's embarrassing. Ew, no, I don't like this. I don't like this angle. I like to have a little space above my head. Okay, I guess that's good enough. Anyway. Okay, the treasure hunting stages. They were fine in Sonic Adventure 1. Granted, Tikal sometimes made it really easy to find emeralds because all you would just have to do is find out where she went. Sometimes she would go too fast for you to follow her. Other times, you could see exactly where she was going. Um, that was really the only flaw with the treasure hunting stages. But in SA2's treasure hunting stages, they took that away so that the hint system is not as hand holding, but it's even worse because the hints are often cryptic and vague and at times really fucking stupid and pointless. And at one point in Rouge's Mad Space level, they're written backwards. Why? Why would you write them backwards? That's just making the game longer than it has to be, to the point where people have to pause in order to read the messages so that they don't waste time and the hints. I'm just like, why? And another important thing, why the fuck do I have to find one emerald at a time? Because I've had several instances where I would be looking for an emerald and there'd be another emerald right there where I am, and sometimes I'd see it, sometimes I wouldn't. So why can't I just find more than one emerald at a time? I'd be more forgiving of the hint system if they still kept that feature, but they didn't. And the hint system makes that issue even worse because the fewer hints you use, the bigger your score is. I personally don't even bother using the hints. I just study the level layout and just try to guess where the emeralds are. Although there are times where this doesn't work, like in Egg Quarters and Death Chamber, which are the the second worst stages, the second worst treasure hunting stages, because they're arranged in such a way that makes it hard for you to get from point A to point B in a reasonable amount of time. You have to go here, and you have to go here, and you have to go here. Although there's a central hub, but it's still a cumbersome process to just go everywhere. You're like, oh, well, if there's an emerald in this blue area, and then red emerald in this red area, and then this green area, or two in this area and one in this area, it's a mess. It's just a mess. And Meteor Herd and Mad Space. Why are those levels so damn big? There's no reason for them to be that big because again, it makes going from point A to point B harder. It's ridiculous. Like in Knuckles' stage in Meteor Herd, an emerald could be all the way up at the very top, like near that floating building or whatever. And and then in order to get to the next emerald, you have to drill dive all the way down. It's fucking irritating. God. And God forbid that if there's just an emerald floating around up there, and I'm like, oh great, now I have to go back all the way up there. Like if the stages were smaller and Knuckles and Rouge's, like if those stages were smaller and if the hint system were a little better, and if you could search for more than one emerald at a time, I'd be fine with the treasure hunting stages. But that's not the case. They're just badly designed. They are. Okay, now let's talk about. But yeah, though that's. Oh, and Rouge's Mad Space. It's even worse than Meteor Herd. It's smaller, but you have that annoying gravitational pull, so you'll have a hard time escaping that planet's gravity unless you take the rocket. And it's just like, why can't I just go from planet to planet? Why? Why can't I just do that? It's just annoying. But anyway. Oh, and Security Hall. At first I didn't like that stage, but it's not as bad as Mad Space. Security Hall is doable. You just need to study the stage and then it's not really all that hard. I played that stage recently and I don't get bad ranks on it. I get A's and B's. Like you just need to understand the level layout and at times know where the switches are. So I think the best thing to do would be to just go up to the top level and just activate all the switches so you don't have to worry about any unlocking anything. Oh, of course there was the fucking timer. Sometimes the timer was really lenient, other times not so much. Like Rouge's Security Hall, 5 minutes is actually not a lot of time to find three emeralds without hints. It's not. Oh yeah, and about the power up for Knuckles, the air necklace. I wonder why the game doesn't tell you that you can use it to get past Cannon's core. You can beat Cannon's core without it, but it's really difficult to do so unless you know exactly what you're doing because you have these air bubbles underwater that you can use, but you have to be on point if you want to make it. And I'm just like, okay, why the fuck would you not like why wouldn't you tell the player about the air necklace or at least hint at it? That would make Canon's Core much easier because not everyone's going to be able to finish Canon's Core. But whatever. That's Knuckles' and Rouge's stages. Tails and Eggman's. Okay. Now, I don't like the mech stages either. They're not as bad as the treasure hunting stages, but the robots to me have clunky controls and they fall like they drop like rocks. If you step off the edge a little, they drop like rocks. And this is really annoying in levels like Hidden Base and Sand Ocean. You don't want to fall. Well, Sand Ocean isn't too bad because the platforming is designed much better, but there's still the chance that you could fuck up and fall off. In Hidden Base, this happens quite a lot. Anyway, but yeah, Eggman had the better stages. His stages were just overall better. Mission Street, like, let's talk about Tails' stages. Mission Street was an okay stage. It was okay. But the platforming at times was kind of wonky. Because it was really easy to fall off those floating pillars. And Hidden Base was just shit. I like it. I like that stage a lot, actually. But I won't deny that its platforming is just horribly designed. It's very easy to fall off. Even if you know what you're doing, you could still very easily fall off. And then you'll hear Tails scream, Sonic! Like, Tails is such a fanboy of Sonic. Ugh. But anyway, let's see what else. Prison Lane is boring. Well, I mean, it's an alright stage. But it's not really all that interesting. There are an Eternal Engine. Oh, do not get me started on Eternal Engine. It's so shit. So many hazards everywhere, and there are these little dynamite packs that when you blow up, they could very well suck you into outer space if you're not careful. Even on the bridges. Like, I'm just like, oh my fucking god. Eternal Engine was so shit. I hated that stage. Just god. um. Now, Eggman stages were overall decent actually. Cosmic Wall and Weapons Bed were so much fun because of all the shit you get to blow up. You get to blow up a lot of robots, so many. And I like how and you think that would actually make the level easier, but to get higher points on, but not really because you have to know exactly how many robots you need to lock on before you fire. And if you lock on for too long, you'll lose that. So there's that added challenge of knowing when to lock on and when not to lock on, and getting as many points as you can. And I really like that because if you hit 11 enemies or more in a chain, you get a perfect. And if it's 10, it's extreme. There's a list of how these scores work. I can't remember. But yeah. Dr. Eggman stages were overall better. Lost Colony was good. Lost Colony was a decent level. I liked it. Um, it was kind of annoying having to beat up all the robots just so that you could have some lights in the level, but it's not too bad. Um, it doesn't really detract from level design. I just don't like it. Let's see. So that's Eggman has 5 stages actually. Tails has 4. So Eggman has an extra power up that Tails doesn't have, which is the extra armor, which is good actually. It gives him double health, I think. But it still kind of doesn't help much in some levels. Anyway, yeah, I know about the Great Clement J 642's LPS. I haven't watched this LP of Sonic Adventure 2. I don't think I have. I did a Sonic. I think I did a. I can't remember which LP I watched from him. I think it was Shadow the Hedgehog. I can't remember. Oh yeah, and Tails has a kart racing stage, which is shit. And so does Rouge, which is also shit. They're they're just shit. They're just shit. They're just shit. Because the controls, like they don't control. they don't have the worst control, but I've ever seen in a video game, but they're still controlled pretty badly. And I'm like wondering, how do you get an A? I can barely get a B. Most of the time I get C's. Sometimes I get B's, but most of the time I get C's in those stages. How do you get an A in that driving stage? You'd have to have perfect driving. And yeah, I too remember Clement's 3 hour Sonic '06 review. I was just thinking about that right now, actually. Um, Let me have some water. My throat's drying up. Oh, the stream is lagging? Oh, crap. Okay, anyway. Wait, what the heck? Oh, oh well, whatever. Alright, so, I think I talked about Eggman stages. There's Lost Colony, Weapons Bed, Cosmic Wall, Sand Ocean. There's another one. There's another one. I can't remember what it is. Damn. Iron Gate. That's what it was. Iron Gate was actually better than Tails' Prison Lane version. It just was to me. That one was more fun to me. It was basically Prison Lane, but not as boring because there weren't as many gates in your way, and plus there were more enemies to shoot, I think. Okay, anyway, but yeah, Eggman stages are overall better than Tails' stages, and Knuckles' stages I'd say are better than Rouge's stages because Rouge has Mad Space, which is worse than Meteor Herd, and Rouge has an obnoxious kart racing stage. And what else? Rouge has that annoying security hall stage and the annoying A quarter stage. At least in Knuckles' death chamber, you don't have to worry about that giant fucking beetle. Like, I hated that thing. It scared the crap out of me when I first saw it as a kid. I was like, oh shit! Like I once when it was about to shoot me, I even dropped the controller. I was like, nope, nope, not holding on to that. I was like, shit. And then it vibrated on the floor. I'm like, mm-mm, not touching that. Okay, anyway. Anything else I can think of? Mm. Okay, so that's Tails' and Eggman's and Knuckles' and Rouge's. Eggman and Knuckles have the better stages. They just do. Now, Sonic and Shadow stages. Sonic stages are better than Shadow's. He has more of them and they're better. Sonic Sonic doesn't really have a bad stage, except maybe okay, there's City Escape, Metal Harbor, Green Jungle, Pyramid Cave, Crazy Gadget, and Final Rush. Crazy Gadget would probably be the worst out of all of them, but even then, it's still fun. Just sometimes it has some bullshit in it because it's very easy to fall off in some parts. And at one part, I didn't even know how to get past, those invisible floating blocks and not invincible, those floating blocks in space with the different colors. There was one jump I didn't even know I could get past because I was like, it's so far away. How do I? But then and I didn't know how to, and I couldn't beat it when I was a kid. I was like, I don't know how to get past this part. But a few years later, I was like, oh, I can jump and homing attack that enemy to get to that part. So yeah, so now I beat it. But I could beat Shadows. I could beat the Team Dark story though. But yeah, back to the topic. Crazy Gadget is Sonic's worst stage in my opinion, and it's still a good. It's still a decent one. Now, Shadow stages. Final Chase is the worst action stage ever in that game. Those spinny drums are so fucking annoying. They just really are. They just suck you in and sometimes make it hard for you to, get out. And on top of that, you have enemies that surround them, and sometimes you have those electric gates, and sometimes you fall off by accident. I'm just like, no, I hate those spinny drums. But but yeah, uh, I like it a lot more if the spinny drums were better handled. Like it had an interesting gimmick, but it just wasn't executed all that well. The spinny drums were better handled. I'd like the stage more, but they weren't. So, and of course you have Skyrail. which is fun, but way too short. Way too short. By the time you get into the stage, it's already over. Radical Highway is Shadow's best stage in my opinion. It just is. It's like City Escape, but it's like City Escape but on the highway. Um, I really like that stage a lot. It's my favorite one by far. And then there's White Jungle, which is also fun and not as short as Skyrail, but still not. But it's still not as long as I'd like it to be. Not short, but not long either. It's just medium sized. Radical Highway is the longest stage. Well, actually, Final Chases, but that's only because it's crappy. But yeah, Shadow has 3 good stages and 1 bad stage. Sonic has 5 good stages and 1 alright stage. Because Sonic has a lot of stages I like. I like Melt Harbor. I like, except for the fact that if you want an A rank, you're gonna. It's really hard. It's the only thing I don't like about Metal Harbor is that it's really hard to get an A rank without going all the way to the top of that rocket. It's possible, but it's very hard. Like you'd have to be really skilled to pull it off. Darkspine Sonic can do it, of course, but others like me, mm-mm. But yeah, I like Metal Harbor. I like Green Forest. I like City Escape. I like all the stages. Even Crazy Gadget. That's my least favorite, but I still like it. Blue Typhoon threw some major shade. Skyrail is about as long as a stage in Sonic Forces, definitely. Yeah, school shootings are pretty fucked up. I don't think I was ignoring those messages. I wasn't. I'm reading all your messages. I just can't respond to all of them. And yeah, I mentioned this in an earlier stream, but I was actually involved in a school shooting. Only one person died, but well, 2 people, the victim and the shooter, because the shooter killed himself. I'm just like, the fuck? Like it was such a fucked up event. Like there was just it was a really shitty day for everyone. We were all taking exams, we were all under stress. We were all just trying to make it throughout the semester and then something like that happens during an exam and I'm like, "Oh shit." Yeah. So, but yeah, it was just and then plus it was raining and then it was hot like all in one day. That's how crazy Texas weather is. And people can get back into the school because it was like everyone was evacuated, but people couldn't get back to the school until a few days later because evidence. They had to preserve the crime scene and do the investigation, and a lot of people end up leaving important stuff back there. I'm like, why now? Oh, you probably weren't around when I talked about this, Jesse, but yeah, I was involved in the school shooting. Like, I was taking it during the history exam, right? And we were in the middle of taking a test, but then we see somebody run across the hall, like, and then I'm not sure if that was a shooter. I'm pretty sure it was, but I don't, I just contradicted myself right there. I thought it was a shooter, but I wasn't completely sure because I didn't get a good enough look at him. I knew it was a man definitely, but he ran so fast, and then a police officer was shouting after him, and then he was like, "Hey!" And then everybody was like, what just happened? Are we about to? Is there shooting about to happen? Like we feared that there was about to be a shooting, and then turns out our hunches were right, and then we were on lockdown, and then we closed the door, locked it, um, hid in one corner of the classroom, turned off the lights, were absolutely silent. Some people had their phones on, which was fine as long as it was it wasn't obvious, didn't make it too obvious that you were there, but some people just had theirs so bright. I'm like, you're gonna get us killed. But anyway, and then at one point we hear something about a shooter on from one of the police officers outside the classroom, like, and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And then we all put the desks together. It's like, "Oh my god!" Like everyone just put the desks together to protect us from the shooting. Put all the tables and chairs together. I'm like, "Oh fuck." Yeah, that was just not a good day because I was already not in a good mood, and but that 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 event just snapped me out of whatever funk I was. I was like, oh shit, something's happening. And then we were evacuated. But see, the police officers came into our door, but at first we thought they were the shooters because they had big guns. I was like, oh shit. And they've had flashlights, but they came and everyone was like, and we were all relieved. And then they were asking, they spoke in a really serious tone and asking questions like, do you have any weapons on you? And then questions like that. And I swear I was about to crap my pants. I was like, oh shit, no, don't ask me, please. But he didn't ask me specifically, but yeah, he asked the teacher, and she responded very calmly, and I was like, I can't do that. But yeah, we were all evacuated, and once we were led out of the doors, we just started running, like running towards the open area, and everyone was just moved out, went outside. I didn't really have a good reception at the time. I was trying to contact my family, and they were aware of what was happening. Like they saw it on the news, and they were trying to contact me through text. And I called my mother at one point, and then yeah, that was a messy day. And there were three police officers, a helicopter, and an ambulance. Um, yeah, it was a serious event. Yeah, but the police officers had really big guns, and I actually um took a video of it, captured a video of it, and then sent it to my brother and sister and mother. Um, yeah, I was with a friend at the time, and it was just a messy event, so messy. God, I didn't see the shooting though. I was in a different building. Like we have buildings on letters. I was in one building, but it happened in the building across campus, not too far away, but enough to where I didn't hear anything. I didn't know anything what was going on in that building. I didn't hear the gunshot or anything. And I was in that building earlier this morning actually. So I was like, oh wow. And nope, I didn't die. I'm still here. Yep. But yeah, but we couldn't get back into the building because um everyone because again, crime scene investigation. Yeah, it was a hot ass mess. Like somebody died. I was like, oh my God. And it was hot that day, so we were all sweaty. And then rain came in out of nowhere. Like it just came out of nowhere and just started dumping down our heads. And then we were all screaming because the water was so cold. And then like an hour later, the rain stopped. Like we were stuck outside, so we were soaking wet. And so my friend and I were like, let's just go in my car. And then we went in there, and we were able to dry off in there. And I was like, oh shit, this is so fucked up. First the exams, the shooting, and now the weather. But then the weather went back to normal. Like it wasn't too hot anymore, and it wasn't rainy anymore. So yeah, so we all tried to get back to the building. We talked to the police officers, and they said no, you can't go back in, and it's not likely that you're gonna go back in either because this could take hours. And everyone was like, "Fucking hell!" Like we were in the middle of exams, and some of us left important stuff in there. Like I had my wallet, my phone, and my keys, so I wasn't too affected. I just left my backpack in there, but my friend left his keys and wallet in there, and I'm like, crap. And some people were taking. It's just crap. So yeah, we waited for a few hours, but then we found that it's just better we just go home and come back another day. And then we came back. I mean, well, my friend wasn't there at the time. I came alone. We had to go in groups on a different day. It was on a different day. But before that point, like during the day of the shooting, like after a few hours, I just went home. I took my friend home first, and I went home. And then my parents, and my mom and my mom's friend were like, we're so worried about me. Not to the point where they're like, oh my god, are you okay? But more like, oh my god, like what happened? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. And I had another friend from who worked at my job at the time, and she wasn't there that day. Like she was a student there, but she wasn't there that day. And she was asking me what happened. And I was like, shit. And yeah, some of the kids were talking about it at work, and it's like, yeah, it was messed up. I was in a different building, so I didn't hear anything. But some kids heard shots, gunshots, and one teacher even witnessed the event. I was like, oh shit. And then she went into action. She locked the door, got barricaded everything, got the class ready for action. And then I was like, oh shit, wow. That from what I've heard online in one of the articles anyway. But yeah. And another day, when I went back to the school, it was under high security. Like you had to go in groups with police officers. Like, and then they would take you to certain classrooms, and then you'd go and get your stuff, and then go with the group, and then after everyone's gotten their stuff, they would escort you outside, and then you could leave. So I was like, yeah, wow. But yeah, that was a messy experience. Um, but some good came out of it. I mean, we got to study more, right? But somebody died. And they put a little memorial for her outside the library. Like you could go, you could see it. Like they put down like pictures and hearts and everything. Um, yeah. And my sister actually met the shooter at one point in history. I was like, "You actually met him?" And then she didn't expect she didn't yeah, she didn't expect him to be like my sister's 3 years younger than me, so she was in high school at the time this happened. I think it was either high school or freshman. No, it was freshman year. Sorry, of college. Uh, So yeah, so she actually knew him at one point, like, but not as an acquaintance or a friend or anything. Just like she met him one point. I was like, seriously? It's like, yeah. I think she commented that he seemed a bit off at that point in history, but I couldn't remember what she said. But yeah, that's the story of the shooting. And yeah, at least one person died right at 50. Yeah, this stream just got grim. But yeah, that's really what happened to me. I'm not joking at all. It was a hot mess over there. But on the upside, got more time. But like during the exams, like I just didn't like having to continue the exam from where I because it was just everyone was just stressed and we were already focusing on exams and then something like this happens like at the worst possible time, especially when the weather was such shit outside. Um, but I got my government teacher gave me 100 on the final exam. I mean, I already studied for it, and so I was gonna pass the class anyway. I was gonna get a good grade on that exam anyway, but you know he he gave everyone 100 points, you know, because of the school shooting. I was like, oh, that was kind of you. Um, that was really kind of you. I appreciate that. Because I wasn't really doing all that well in the class, but I ended up passing thanks to hard work, last minute hard work, but hard work nonetheless. Um, but yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry about that, Jesse. That reminds me of this one incident, like there's this one historical incident. It's called the New London School Explosion. Because it happened when, natural gas, right? We use it in our homes, our to cook and to heat our homes. Um, See, natural gas at the time didn't have that characteristic odor, that rotten egg smell. So people couldn't detect it back then. And I mean, some people had some people were adding that odor, but it wasn't standardized. So they decided so the school was supposed to have a different heating system, but then they went and chose another heating system which was not safe at all in design, and there was a gas leak under the crawl space in the crawl space of the school, so a lot of gas built up and nobody could smell it because there wasn't any odor. I mean, there were a few headaches, but nobody paid attention to those. And then somebody turned on an electric sander and then the whole school blew up. And that like it was a really horrible disaster. Like there was this one account of this kid who was taking out the trash from the classroom. He was saved from that explosion because he was outside when it happened. And there was this other kid. You guys can look this up for yourselves online. There was this other kid who who switched seats with the girl so that he could talk with a friend. When the school exploded, he wasn't killed by falling debris, but the girl who was in his seat was, and he could never forgive himself for that because if he hadn't switched seats with her, she wouldn't have died, but he would have, and that was really fucked up. I was like, that's such a sad story. But the parents of the girl forgave him anyway because they knew it wasn't his fault. He couldn't have predicted that. But yeah, that was a really grim disaster. I was like, oh crap. But but yeah, after that point, they started adding that odor in to natural gas, which saved a lot of lives. Yeah, Final Destination shit right there. But yeah, it's called the New London School Explosion, like the city London, but it wasn't in London. It was in Texas. New London School Explosion. Sorry, and it was in the 1920s, I think. I can't remember, or 30s, 40s. I can't remember. But yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you, Tracy. Your grandma had a heart attack right in front of you. Damn, like to her to that's just so fucked up. Like I recently had this family friend I've known for years. He died of cancer. It just hit him out of nowhere, and it eventually progressed to the point where he couldn't talk or eat or anything like that. He was just a hollow shell of his former self. And then I and I had to work that night. I mean they asked me to come in early, but I was like no because I didn't tell them why. But I didn't say anything. I was just like I'm gonna go and see him first because I might not see him again. And I saw him, and then I went to work a few hours later, and then that night he passed away. It's just and I didn't really, I guess because we were closer back then, but we weren't that close recently, so I guess that's why I didn't feel too much pain. It was, yeah, cancer really does not. It just, it's just so fucked up. But yeah, because he was fine earlier, like a few days ago or a week ago, but then it just progressed so quickly. This is so fucking. But anyway, that's let's not talk anymore about that. That's enough because we're trying not to think about death. We're just it's best to just accept it and try to live life to the fullest. At least that's what I want to do. Anyway, to be honest, I'm just gonna be honest right now. I'm kind of a moody person, so yeah. Anyway, let's go back to Sonic. But yeah, Sonic stages are overall better than Shadows. SA2 was just too divisive for its own good. Like, but anyway, that's enough of that. It still wasn't as good as Sonic Adventure 1. The design choices were worse overall. And then we have Sonic Heroes, which I actually like Sonic Heroes' gameplay. It's just that it's so copied. It's so copied and pasted. Like, you play the same gameplay style 4 times. And there's little difference in 3 of the gameplay styles. Team Sonic is the medium difficulty. Team Rose is easy. Team Dark is hard. Like Team Rose's stages are the shortest. Team Sonic's middle difficulty, middle length, medium length, and Team Dark had the longest stages. I'm like, why do I have to play the same story 4 times? Why? And Team Chaotix's missions, oh my god, I hated those. They're almost impossible to do well on without a walkthrough. I needed walkthroughs. Fortunately, there were videos that showed what to do on every mission, but I needed walkthroughs on every single mission. Not every single one, but most of them, because I didn't know what to do. Now, now the extra missions weren't too bad because they were more based on score than time. So even if you took like 30 minutes on a mission, which is what I did once, I took almost 30 minutes on a mission, you can still get an A rank because they don't grade you based on time. but on the normal missions, they do grade you based on time, at least sometimes. So you want to be careful. So you don't want to take too long, and but you end up taking very long. It's just ridiculous. Team Chaotix's missions are just ridiculous. But yeah, Sonic Heroes was a hot mess, and the storytelling was just as crappy as it was in. It was even worse than SA2. The storytelling was worse than Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure 1 had decent storytelling, and then it just went down. Like the storytelling, the quality of storytelling just went down after Sonic Adventure 1, and then it hit its all-time lowest in Shadow the Hedgehog. Then it went back up a little bit in Sonic 2006, and then it went back up quite a bit in Sonic and the Secret Rings, and then Sonic Unleashed, and then went down a bit in Sonic Colors, and down a bit in Sonic Generation. Oh, it went up in Black Knight. I should say Unleashed, and then Black Knight, and then down in Sonic Colors, and then Sonic Generations, and then Sonic Boom, Sonic Lost World, and then Sonic Boom, and just like it just kept going down and down. The quality of storytelling was just not the same after Sonic and the Black Knight. And then Sonic, it went up quite a bit in Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces to me had okay storytelling. It could have been better, but it wasn't terrible. But yeah, that's Sonic Heroes. Shadow the Hedgehog. It was a crappy game. I like the game a lot, but it's crappy. The mission structure is crap. Some missions are absolutely brutal to do because they require you taking a really long time to find all the objects in the level. Why would you force the player to get every single fucking kind of an object in the level? Every single object, like every single disc, every single enemy. Why not just make it so that you have to get like 80% of it? Not. And some states, now there are a few missions where you don't have to get everything, but there are few and far in between. In most missions, you need to get every single object in the level, and I'm like, why? They should have either A, reduce the amount of objects you have to collect, or B, reduce the amount of objects you could get away with collecting. But they didn't do that. And the storytelling was just really horrible in Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow is just a complete asshole. Not even the good kind. You can make asshole characters good. You can make asshole characters good. It's just that Shao is not one of them. He's not. But yeah, that's Shao the Hedgehog. Oh, and of course the controls were slippery. Not bad, but slippery. And the weapons were good in Shao the Hedgehog. They controlled surprisingly well, except for a few which were complete shit because it was really hard to aim them properly, like the cannons. Not the turrets, but the cannons that you could carry with you. Like the weapons actually work pretty well. The gameplay is actually overall solid. Despite a few slippery controls and a few wonky weapons. But see, here's the thing. Why are there weapons in a Sonic game? They don't need to be there. Shao is perfectly fine just using his Chaos abilities. If you want to give him a weapon, give him his Chaos Spear and his combat abilities. And they do that in Sonic 2006, but they kept the vehicles. Why? The vehicles control even worse than they do in Shao the Hedgehog. And that brings us to Sonic 2006. Which is even worse than Shadow the Hedgehog. It's better. It has better storytelling, considerably better storytelling, but the gameplay is so much worse. The controls are so loose and unresponsive at times. The level design is crap. The characters all have suffered some sort of nerf. Although some characters are unchanged in terms of quality, other characters have gotten quite worse, especially Tails and Amy. It's just, it's just, Sonic 2006 was just a mess in terms of gameplay. But we're done with talking about that one because I've already told you guys how bad that game is so many times. I don't need to spend more time on it. And then we have Sonic and the Secret Rings. Again, we talked about that one. I just played it recently. Not talking about that shit again. Shitty motion controls. Decent story, but shitty motion controls. Shitty mission structure. You don't even know what missions are the ones you need to advance the story. They all look the same. Some missions are completely worthless in terms of advancing the story. Some missions are ones you need to do in order to advance the story. You can't tell which is which, so you just have to guess and hope for the best. Then you end up wasting a lot of time. So we're done talking about that, and then we have Sonic Unleashed. Okay. Oh, I need to take a break though.
Sorry, guys, I need to take a break. We'll take a break because I'm getting a bit tired. We'll continue the stream, but I need to take a break. So, see you guys in a bit. Give me like 5 minutes at most.
Okay, I was checking the chat from my phone. Um, Scott just pinged me. Sonic, that game was kind of messing with history. I'm not sure what he meant by that. But whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he'll explain it later. Okay, let me just drink some water before I continue. What the hell was that? Is that my phone? I think my phone just vibrated. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that seemed to be my phone. Okay. Alright. Anyway, we were talking about Sonic Unleashed. Okay. A lot to talk about this one. First of all, I'm not going to comment on the storytelling. It's better than it was in Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog. The storytelling isn't bad. It's a decent story, like in Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic, and to a lesser extent, dare I say it, Sonic 2006. I think that Sonic 2006's story actually isn't as bad as I thought it was. Still not all that great, but not terrible. At least better than Shadow the Hedgehog's hot ass mess of a story. It was just a hot ass mess. Okay, Sonic Unleashed. Let's talk about the gameplay. Sonic Unleashed, it was a step in the right direction. Because after Secret Rings, we're like, no, we need to. I mean, because they kind of did what Secret Rings did, and then where you're constantly moving forward, but then they made it so that you're not actually being forced to move forward. You'll be pushed to move forward, but like forced to move forward, but how do I explain it? Like you were supposed to move forward continuously, but you could stop if you wanted. That's how I should explain it. And Sonic Unleashed fixed that. Pretty much did what Secret Rings failed to do. Now, that's for the boost stages. For the Werehog stages, it's a completely different mechanic. I don't like the Werehog. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't like the Werehog. I think the Werehog is pointless. I see the Werehog could have been better if they had made the stages more entertaining and not as long because the stages drag out for so long. Like in the Xbox 360 version, it's just one big stage that can take up to what, 30 minutes? And the Wii version is just, separate stages that could take up to like 6, 7 minutes each. I mean, you have three Werehog stages and three daytime stages in the Wii and PS2 versions, and one day stage and one night stage in the 360 and PS3 versions. But for the Wii and PS2 versions, the day stages are so much shorter than the night stages. I mean, you have a regular day stage and then a mission and then another mission. And then for the night stages, you have three separate Werehog stages. That's just so unbalanced. But yeah, the Werehog, I mean, it's not bad. It's not badly designed. Like it's not it's programmed fine. It's just too long. If they had just cut down that shit, I would be fine with it. Oh, and the fucking metal collecting in the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions. Why? Is the game so short that you need to pad it out by forcing people to go back to several stages and collect moon medals and sun medals? Why? Why? Why would you do that? The game would have been. I would have been fine with the game. I would have been forgiving of the game's flaws if it wasn't for that. But at that point, I was just like, nope, not playing this anymore. I'm gonna put it back, send it back to GameFly, and get something else. Sorry, I just don't have the patience for it. And of course, there's Eggman Land. I never made it up to that point. I didn't even make it to halfway through the game, to be honest. Um, I didn't. I just didn't. I'm sorry. I just did not have the patience for that kind of shit. But yeah, the Eggman Land could take up to like an hour if you play it, and you better not. And see, the thing is, the Werehog stages tends to be really long in the 360 and PS3 versions, and because it's just one big stage. It's not separated into smaller chunks like the Wii and PS2 versions. So what if you had like what if you were almost through the entire level and then died and then lost your score? That's a lot of work wasted. Now, this doesn't really happen too often because Sonic Unleashed isn't too difficult a game, but it could still very well happen. It's happened to me once, and I did not enjoy it at all. But yeah, the stages for the Werehog stages in Sonic Unleashed are just way too long, way too long. Especially Eggman Land. I'm not doing that. Well, Eggman Land is a combination of both daytime and nighttime stages, but you get the idea. Just fuck the night stages. Fuck the night stages. I'm sorry. If they were shorter and now I like the 360. The both versions have good things and bad things. So they're polarizing essentially. Some people say the Wii and PS2 versions are better. Some people say the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions are better. I don't care for either. And here's why. The Wii version and PS2 versions don't have medal collecting. I mean, you can collect medals, but you're not forced to go back and collect medals. All you just have to do is find the entrance and then you're done. To a stage and you're done. And the hub worlds are more streamlined in the Wii and PS2 versions. You don't have to walk around and talk to people. You have text boxes and um, you just click around and then select what person you want to talk to. That's it. You don't go through a hub world. So it's more so the Wii and PS2 versions are more streamlined in that sense. But then again, that takes away the hub worlds. I actually kind of like moving around the hub worlds in the P3 360 and PS3 version. So even though and even though you have to collect medals in those too because there are medals hidden in those. They're not too hard to find, but some of them anyway. But you still have to go and look for them. But anyway, yeah, I kind of like the hub worlds in Unleashed though. So just having it in text boxes, it's kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing for me. So, it's a give and take. Um, let's see what else. The 360 version has, for the daytime stages, the 360 version scores much differently. You're not ranked based on just time. You're ranked based on time, rings, how many enemies you hit, so on and so forth. Um, oh, excuse me. And the boost in the daytime stages isn't spread out in chunks. You don't just use a boost chunk and then you can't keep using boost. That's in the Wii and PS2 versions. In the 360 and PS3 versions, you can it's just one big bar that you can drain as long as you want. And this is good, even though it makes it more likely that you'll run out of boost more quickly. I mean, you'll run out of boost more quickly, but it gives you more control over your boost so that you're not forced to just using chunks of boost. I didn't really like that. So the daytime stages to me are better in the 360 and PS3 versions, but the nighttime stages are worse because again, it's just one big stage rather than just separate chunks. I'd rather have separate chunks of stages. I'm sorry, I can't do one big stage. I don't have the patience for that. I don't. And I think and again, again, the nice stages in the PS3 and Xbox 360 version. I'll just say HD version. I'm just gonna say HD version. HD versus non-HD. I'm just gonna say HD because I hate having to say 360 and PS3 over and over again. In the HD version, you in the night stages you're timed. You're ranked based on time. You're not ranked based on score. You're ranked based on time, just like in the day stages. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's the non-HD version. In the HD version for the night stages, you are ranked based on time, score, enemies hit, so on and so forth. Um, again, this makes that getting a rank in the night stages is more satisfying, but because they're so damn long and not broken up into chunks, and the fact that you have to actually, get rings and hit enemies for a good score, it actually makes the night stages more tedious to complete. So again, it balances out. Let me go through the chat. And what else? Oh yeah. There's another thing. I will say this: the combat system in the nighttime stages is so much better in the HD version because there are different combos you can pull off, which I liked. They're not too complicated and they're not nearly as extensive as that of a real fighting game, but the combos are still pretty interesting. Um, the in the Wii version you don't really do much. The combat system is greatly simplified. You just punch left, punch right, and then you have a few special moves, and then you have the Unleash meter too in that one where Sonic's get Werehog form gets more power. You have that in both versions, but the combat system in the Wii version is just not as the non HD version is just not as good as the HD version. So both versions have their ups and downs. But I personally thought that at first I thought I picked the HD version because the visuals were better, obviously, because again, 360 and PS3. Um, and the daytime stages were better, but the nighttime stages were worse, and you have metal collecting to worry about. So I'm actually leaning more towards the Wii and PS2 versions, but or maybe I don't know. I feel I'm still in between, but I think I might be starting to lean more towards the non-HD version because I can't handle the HD version anymore. And yeah, Scott, nighttime does equal hell in the game. But yeah, that's Sonic Unleashed. So now we're gonna talk about Sonic and the Black Knights. Sonic and the Black Knights. Now, that game, I didn't like it. I'm sorry. It was better than Secret Rings. It was basically Secret Rings with better control, but I didn't like having to swing the Wii remote around like an idiot. Sometimes it was fun, other times not so much. I didn't like it. Who was calling me? Screw that. No, I'm not answering. I'm in the middle of a stream. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. Okay. Yeah, I didn't like it. Granted, I wasn't good at it. And it was my first time playing. And with more practice, I would have appreciated it more. So I'm not gonna say that the game is bad. It's just It's just not good enough for my taste. I'm sorry. I just don't like it. It's not bad, but it's not good either. Sometimes I fucked up because of the game. Sometimes I fucked up because of my own inexperience. I'm not gonna say that the game screwed me over all the time. That's dishonest. But the game was badly programmed at some points. It just was. It just was. Because there were plenty of times where it wasn't my fault, and there were times where it was my fault. Times where it wasn't. I just no. But whatever. That was Sonic and the Black Knight, and now we're gonna talk about Sonic Colors, which I've only played a little of. I've only played like the first few stages. I borrowed it from a friend once. I got bored with it pretty quickly. I just find it boring. I just do. I'm sorry, I do. Even with the wisps. Um, the gameplay is good, but the narrative is lame. It's just way too cheesy for my own taste. It's just too cheesy, even for Sonic. Sonic has always been a bit cheesy, but Sonic Colors takes that up to 11. I just, ugh, I can't. They just make so many lame jokes. Some of the jokes are good, but most of them are just ugh. And you know what the interesting thing is? The Japanese version is actually even worse, in my opinion, because to me it's just boring. Because Sonic Colors, the plot was based around humor, and if you take that out, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. But then again, this was one of the games where the American script was done first, the English script anyway. So that's yeah, like it like yeah, so I guess that's to be expected. The Japanese version, the jokes were better when they were told. Well, kind of, but it's just boring to me. It was more serious, which I appreciated, but it was also more boring. I mean, you can make something serious without get making it go
get boring. Okay, so that's Sonic Colors. Okay, let's talk about Sonic Generations now. But yeah, I haven't really gone very far in Sonic Colors. I just stopped playing after the first few stages because it was just so boring. And then Sonic Generations. I like that game a lot, actually. I got it as a Christmas present, like a few months after it came out. Um, I loved it. It was fun. I loved both. I loved both gameplay styles. Well, actually, I only liked modern Sonics. Classic Sonics was okay. I wasn't a fan of Classic Sonic, but I found this actually decent. It was okay. It was okay. I liked it. I mean, I didn't like it, but I found it tolerable, I should say. Sorry. I'm always contradicting myself. Um, yeah, so I could tolerate it. And it was Classic Sonic's gameplay was fun with the homing attack, which took up an entire ability slot. Like they brought the skill rings back from Secret Rings into Sonic Generations, and for Sonic Classic Sonic, you could give him the homing attack, though you would have to collect all the red rings to do it. And I'm like, fuck. The red rings in that game are a pain in the ass to collect. Oh shit! I hit the camera. But yeah, the red rings are a pain in the ass to collect in that game, but I did it, so I got the homing attack, and I had more fun with Classic Sonic. Because the homing attack gives you it's essentially an extra jump, and you can break a lot, and you can get past a lot more stuff with it. So yeah, no wonder it took up um one huge skill ring in the game. Like you have 100 points on each skill ring, and the homing attack took up an entire skill ring. So doesn't surprise me there. But that is Sonic Generations. Oh, but again, but I want to talk about the plot. The plot in Sonic Generations is almost non-existent. It's simplistic. I mean, it works, but it's just better. I'd say it's actually better than Colors' plot because at least it doesn't try too far to be funny. But it's still it's just barely there. So it's not interesting to me. Sorry. Ouch. Okay. So we talked about those games. I can't comment on Sonic Lost World or Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, or any of that shit because I haven't played any of those. Okay, so that's Sonic. Now, Sonic, what I don't like about the Sonic series is that I like that it's willing to try new things, but sometimes it just change things so needlessly. So needlessly. I just don't understand why they can't just stick to what works and build on top of it. Mario does this. They do change the formula in Mario. Like the formula for Super Mario 3D World is different from the formula for Super Mario Galaxy 2. But they don't change it to the point where it's not Mario anymore. Or it's just a really different form of Mario. They just know how to make Mario original. They just know how to make him fresh and new. Nintendo has just always been better at Sega than for that thing. I'm sorry, it's just true. Sorry. Nintendo's better than Sega when it comes to this. They just know how to innovate more. Um, although Sega can be innovative themselves. I mean, look at the Dreamcast. It was way ahead of its time. It had internet, um, like an internet browser and an online multiplayer service. Like it was an amazing console. I never owned one and I never played it, but it was great. But it died so quickly. But yeah, um, it was way ahead of its time. Sega was really innovative back then, but if they just had a bit better marketing sense, the Dreamcast would have lived longer because it didn't have copyright protection. I don't think it did. Like it didn't have pirating protection, so you could just copy a game and play it. I think that's at least that's what I've heard. I can't remember. And the PS2 had a DVD player, and everyone was like, "OMG!" I was like, "You guys are gonna go crazy over a DVD player when the Dreamcast has other kind of stuff?" And plus, the Dreamcast didn't have
as many buttons as it should have. That the PS2 had an extra analog stick, extra shoulder buttons, and the analog sticks could even function as additional buttons. I don't know why Sega didn't bother putting any of that into their controller. I mean, the only thing the Dreamcast had over the PS2 in terms of controllers is that you didn't need a multi-tap accessory. You could just do the four. It had four ports. You could just plug in the controller and you're good to go. But yeah, that's that. That's that. So where was I? Oh yeah, Nintendo knows how to innovate better than Sega, more than Sega. Let's see what else. What else? I think I talked about Sonic. Oh yeah, Sonic. You know how Sonic Team keeps reinventing the wheel, and sometimes they make really stupid fucking decisions. Like Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic 2006. Those games are filled to the brim with bad decisions. And then when you think Sonic Team is getting their shit together, like in Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Colors and Sonic and the Black Knight, then they then go and make even more mistakes, like in Sonic Forces. And Sonic Forces wasn't bad, but it could have been better. And Sonic, what else? There wasn't that Sonic Boom, right? Well, actually, Sonic Team didn't make that game, but yeah, yeah. The Sonic Team got their act together after Sonic and the Secret Rings, but then kind of screwed it up with what game did I say again? Sonic Forces and Sonic Colors in a way. No, not Sonic Colors. I'm sorry. Sonic and the Sonic Lost World, not Sonic Colors. Sonic Lost World was, I guess, an alright game. I don't know. I can't comment much on it. Okay. Well, we talked about Sonic. Anything else you guys want me to talk about? Actually, do have one more thing to rant about. One more thing. And I was going to do this at the beginning of the stream, but let me talk about it now. For those of you who have played the Final Fantasy RPG or any RPG, you've probably heard of um, this term, active time battle. Active time battle is a system where everyone is put on timers, and when that timer goes down to zero, that character can act. You know, like use a potion or attack an enemy and all that stuff. Like it looks like this. I'm gonna try to see if I can recreate it. It's like an RPG, but kind of with real time elements. Like you have like you have attack, magic, item. I can't. I'm writing really sloppily today. Attack, item, and item menu. Then you have these timers for these characters. Like you would have, oh, let's say Lightning from Final Fantasy 13. And she would have this bar. And then let's do Snow. And then let's do Vanille. Now Final Fantasy 13 has a different form of active time battle than what I'm showing here, but I'm going to use them as an example. So you have like this system, right? Attack, magic, item. And then you have these characters with these bars that fill up. And when they fill up, these characters can act. Some characters can reach these bars faster than others. That's because they're faster characters. They have more speed or dexterity or agility. They have more of that. Now, see, the thing about this system is that it seems really good on paper. You know, if having speed influence how often people can act and how you could actually manipulate this with speed and slow spells. I mean, haste and slow spells. But here's the thing. In active time battle, and this is, like, time is constantly running in active time battle, even if you're in the menu. Well, it depends on what difficulty setting you choose, but The problem with active time battle is that time constantly keeps running. So, and you're navigating a complex system in real time. Like you're essentially going, okay, so now I'm gonna wait for my turn to come up. Okay, it's my turn. Let me just choose magic. Let me just choose this spell. Let me just choose this target. Oh shit, he hit me first. I gotta do something else. Oh, gotta hurry through this menu. Oh, I can't. Oh shit, I got hit. Wait, okay. Oh, I know what to do now. Oh shit, I'm dead. And it's like that. So like it's not like that all the time, but the problem with active time battle is that they force you. You have to make snap decisions to avoid wasting time. You have to make what the hell? Oh, it's just my chair. I thought it was a mouse. It's like I'm about to say fuck because I had mice in my garage once. Ugh. One of them died and made a big smell. I had to tell my mom to take it out. It's like ugh. But yeah, active time battle is crap because you have to make snap decisions on an interface that wasn't designed for it. You have to slog through menus upon menus upon menus upon menus while still keeping up with the flow of time. And if you can't make a decision fast enough, you get hurt or even possibly die. It's like looking up names on the phone, like it's like looking up names in the phone book on a time limit. It's like, okay, I have this much time to act. Let me go. Let me look. Oh, oh shit. Oh shit. Okay, I picked it. Oh shit. I took too long. Okay, oh, shit. See, that's how bad active time battle is. It just doesn't work. I don't like it, but there are objective reasons for disliking it. Like it just doesn't work. It's too clumsy a system. Now, I would have been fine with it if they would give you an option to just stop the timers altogether. Like still have the timers there, but actually have them freeze when your turn comes up. But that's not the case. I hate it. I hate active time battle. I really do. I hate ATB. I hate it. I'd be fine with it if you could, if the timer would just stop on your turn. And there are a few RPGs that are like that, like Xenogears, like on the PS1. It's like that. But most RPGs that have active time battle don't have that. Instead, time just keeps going and going and going. Now you can make it to where, like in Final Fantasy VII, there are different difficulties. In active time mode, time keeps going no matter how far you go in the menus. Um, except during summons, because summon animations are long, so that's why time stops there. But you can't do anything else either, so it's not really much help. Um, okay, let's see. And in recommended mode, and okay, let me write this out. Oh shit, I left the marker lid all open. I don't want to do that. So you have active mode, Ooh, let me erase that. Recommended, and then wait mode. So you have three modes, right? In Final Fantasy VII's active time battle mode, you have three modes: active, recommended, and wait. Active is where time doesn't stop no matter how far you go into the menus, except for summons, because summon animations are long. Although, as I said earlier, you can't do anything during those animations, so it's pointless. It doesn't buy you more time, unless you want to think about your next move. Um, Recommended is where time stops on all animations, not just some animations. So when you're using an item or attacking an enemy, or when an enemy is attacking you, or when an enemy is using a spell or whatever, time stops. Better than active, but still not good enough. And then you have wait mode, where time freezes when you're in the menu or selecting a target, which is great. But time still passes. You know that menu I drew earlier, the attack magic item menu? Time still passes in that menu. So in order to avoid wasting time, you need to select the menu option really quickly. Whether it's attack to select the target, or or magic or items to select spells and items. Like you have to act, you still have to act quickly. Press at least one button to avoid wasting time. It's close, and it's better than active and recommended, but you still don't have complete negation of time pressure. So I'm just wondering, like, why is Final Fantasy VII like this? They were so close to allowing the timers to stop on ATB by including this new wait mode. Well, technically wait mode existed, but it works differently in Final Fantasy VII, and recommended is actually the old wait mode. But see, they were so close to freezing the timers, like removing time pressure in ATB with the wait mode. They were so close, but they just stopped just short because you still have to press a button to avoid wasting time, which I don't like. Okay, yeah. And I don't know why Final Fantasy VII didn't just take out the time pressure. Because in Resident Evil 3, you had ink ribbons, which only allowed you to save. Like, you could only save when you had ink ribbons. If you don't have enough ink ribbons, you can't save, and you're screwed. Um, but granted, as long as you're careful with them, you never really run out. You just don't. Like, I never ran out my first time. I never ran out playing Resident. I just didn't like how annoying that limitation was. I mean, it's survival horror, I get it, but it's still pretty annoying. But and this was happened this was the case for Resident Evil 1 and 2. Now, in Resident Evil 3, Capcom came up with a solution. On easy mode, take out the ink ribbons entirely. You have an infinite ink ribbon in your inventory box, so you don't have to worry about saving at um, a limited amount of times. You can save as many times as you want. But on hard mode, you have limited ink ribbons. So it's a nice compromise. So Capcom eventually took away that pressure. So why didn't Final Fantasy VII do the same thing with timer pressure for RPGs? Like just take it out entirely and make it so that timers still fill up, but time freezes on your turn. I just don't understand. But yeah. And another thing about active time battle is that you'll be so pressured to act quickly is that you'll end up accidentally pressing the wrong thing. And then you'll regret it. And in Final Fantasy VII, the menus are really big, because there are so many spells from all the materia and enemy skills, from an enemy skill materia that you can learn. And some of the menus aren't even customizable, because the game has a lot of spells and items and potions and whatnot. So how are you supposed to go sort through all of that within the span of a few seconds when your turn comes up? You can't. But I think that's all I have to say on active time battle. It's just a really shitty mechanic. It just is. And there's an article online that just tears it apart to pieces, and I'm like, yes, you get me. This is exactly how I feel about active time battle. But in Final Fantasy 13, they made active time battle better because you only control one character at a time, and that's another flaw I have with Final Fantasy 7's active time battle. You only control you control three characters at a time. When you're done with one character, you move to another and then another. So it gets even more frantic and not the good kind. But in Final Fantasy 13, you only time still fills up, and there's still no real time policy, but you only control one character at a time, and you can insert a list of commands for that character while that timer's filling up. And you can repeat the commands or cancel them or commit or do them halfway through. Like just do part of the commands, which I liked a lot. Final Fantasy 13 is definitely better, has a better form of ATB, active time battle, than earlier Final Fantasy titles. And you can use items instantly. And the menu is much easier to navigate through quickly. It's really fun. Final Fantasy 13 2 is even better than Final Fantasy 13 1. Final Fantasy 13 2 has really good ATB. Like it's just so seamless and fluid, and it's even more frantic than the older Final Fantasy titles. That's ATB done right. I still don't like that there's no real-time pausing in Final Fantasy 13 2 and 13 1, but both of those games did active time battle correctly because the menu interface is better so you can navigate through it more quickly, and you have more control over what commands you do, and you can use potions instantly. And you only control one character at a time. So I like that. I think that's all I have to say on active time battle. But yeah, and another thing, time is actually not necessarily wasted in Final Fantasy 13 1 and Final Fantasy 13 2. It's not wasted because attacking as soon as you can isn't always the best idea. Sometimes you actually have to wait for the enemy to expose a weak point or wait for you and your teammates to work together so that you both can take down the enemy more quickly. Like when you stagger an enemy, like there's more strategy because you don't always have to act as quickly as you can. Like sometimes time can be wasted if you don't act quickly enough, but sometimes it's better to just wait so that the enemy has a, so that the enemy can exp get weaker and then you can just attack them. Or where you can attack um, with your partners and do even more damage because you have to fill up this gauge and then you when that gauge is filled up, the enemy is staggered. Then you can just go all out. It just involves more strategy because in older Final Fantasy titles you don't have that. You have to attack as soon as you can. But in 13.1 and 13.2, you don't always have to attack as soon as your timer is filled. So I like that. Okay, but that's active time battle. I think I'm gonna end the stream soon. I'm getting tired. I need some speech therapy. My throat's starting to hurt. Granted, I had, and believe it or not, I had even worse speech habits back then. God. Rants about Pokemon. Okay, there's one thing that I don't like about Pokemon. Ash. Not the character himself, but what the writers do with him. He's always losing the tournament. Always. He comes close and then he fails. And at one point he even did worse than he did before. And I'm just like, why? Why did the writers just keep doing this to him? Because it just gives the writers an excuse to keep having Ash in the show. And I'm like, no, no, I'm tired of Ash. I was tired of him after Diamond and Pearl. I'm done. I'm done. Because I really did stop watching the series after Diamond and Pearl. It just got boring to me over time because it was just the same thing. Ash losing, getting better at training, then losing at a big tournament. And at one point he was so close in XYZ, so close, so close. He was right there, but then he fails. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Because and honestly, that's the reason why I don't watch Pokemon anymore. I don't care about Sun and Moon. I don't like the new animation style. I know why there's a new animation style, but I don't want to get into that right now. But I don't like it. And I think the characters got even more obnoxious than they were before. Just, ew, I don't like it. I just, and yeah, just, now, I get it. I get it. Ash and Pikachu are the face of Pokemon, right? The show wouldn't really quite be the same without them. But all good things are going to have to come to an end someday, right? You can't have them in that show forever. Like, and they could have easily remedied this by just having a new protagonist come in after the old one does his tournament. You know? Like, just have a new protagonist every time instead of just Ash. But they didn't do that. They should have done that, but they didn't. They already had their chance to do it and they failed. They could have at least made a spin-off where there was a different protagonist, but they didn't do that. Instead, it's just the same old protagonist failing. He better win this time in Sun Moon, and if he doesn't, honestly, I'm not even expecting him to. Because they're clearly going to drag out Pokemon as much as they can. All good things are going to have to come to an end someday. Ash has overstayed his welcome. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of him. Let's just have a different protagonist. Male or female, I don't care. I'm tired of Ash. I'm tired of Ash. The old Pokemon seasons were great. The newer ones, uh, let's see how many people are watching right now. 5. Nice. All right. I think that's all I can say about Pokemon. Oh, and Missy's a bitch. I mean, that's her character, but I still don't like her. I don't like Misty. I don't like her at all. I hate her. I don't like the fact that she sometimes hits Ash. I don't like her. I don't like her. I was glad that, like, in one episode where Brock was in love with a woman and Misty made fun of him for it, he just hits her on the head. I'm like, Yeah, I don't like Misty. She deserved that. And then when she tried to make fun of him again, he hit her again. And I'm like, yeah, Brock, you go, Brock. I did not like that bitch, Misty. Anyway, but yeah, Misty has hit Brock once before too. Whatever. In any case, um, yeah, that's Pokemon. Now, let me talk about Pokemon. The original was great. Although I kind of got tired of it after a while. Then there was Advanced Generation, which was okay. It was good, but again, I really didn't watch much of that. And then you have Diamond and Pearl, and that was one I actually watched more than Advanced Generation. I actually liked Diamond and Pearl, although I stopped after one point. Like after Dawn caught a Pachirisu and started training it, I just stopped watching after that point. And so did my brothers and sisters, who were like, "Eh, Pokemon's boring now. Let's go do something else." Because we were just tired of it. It was just the same old thing. They should have just kept going with new protagonists. I would have actually liked to see new protagonists in Pokemon. Having them, all different personalities, different strengths, and different weaknesses, all going to the same goal as Ash. And honestly, even if Ash did win a tournament, he's still not done. He still has to defeat what? The big four, eight? I forgot. It's been a while since I played Pokemon. I can't remember how it goes, but there's this big league of Pokemon trainers that Ash still has to defeat after he after he wins a tournament. The tournament actually. I mean, well, technically Ash did win one tournament, but it didn't. But it's not. It wasn't a regular tournament, so it doesn't really count. Anyway, but yeah, I Pokemon Go. I honestly don't know what the big deal was about it. Taking your Pokemon with you wherever you go. Some people died over that shit because they were like, "Oh, let's go and get some Pokemon," and then they ended up doing really dangerous things. I think one person ended up falling off a cliff. I can't remember. I don't know. But Pokemon Go, I never really cared about it. Um, the Pokemon games, I've only played Leaf Green and Fire Red. That's it. I haven't played anything else. Um, although I could have played Diamond and Pearl, I did have a DSi, but no, I've only played Leaf Green and Fire Red. All right. Nickelodeon. I think I've already ranted a bit about that one, but I'll continue. But anyway, Um, Pokemon. The Pokemon gameplay. I should talk about the games. The Pokemon games have gotten better over time with new balances and um better gameplay because Generation 1 was broken as fuck. If you were a poison type, you could destroy anyone because there wasn't a counter to your type until now bring in Generation 2 which had the steel type. And steel type Pokemon for the most part can't be poisoned. And then over time they started adding more things to make the game better and more balanced and then so at least the games are still good, but I haven't played them enough, so I can't really tell whether or not it's just the same thing over and over again, as DBZ's saying. I can't agree or disagree with him because I haven't played the games enough. Okay, so let's talk about. Let's talk about Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon is. Oh, you hate Misty too, Tracy? Yeah, because I honestly did not like that bitch. She got better over time, but I never really liked her. I mean, deep down she was a good person, but she was just a cunt. She was supposed to be, but I just don't like her. Actually, I think Brock was the only character I liked. I kind of liked Ash, except he was incompetent. He didn't even know what a Pokemon Center was in the first episode. I'm like, and this is the guy they gave a Pokemon to? Like, why? Okay, but anyway. Oh, bye DBZ. Thank you for being on the stream, even though it was for a short time. Um, Yeah, so Nickelodeon. It used to have good shows. I can't comment on all the shows, especially the ones from the 90s. I only know a few from the 90s because I was born in 1994. But yeah, most of them were pretty. But yeah, the older shows were better than the newer shows. The older shows just had better writing. I'm not saying I'm not saying this as a nostalgia whore. The older shows really did have better writing. Um, you had Hey Arnold, Angry Beavers. Um, what else? What else? Technically, SpongeBob is a '90s cartoon, but it was really late '90s. Um, like summer of 1999. I can't remember. I remember the first episode that came out though when it played. I was 5 years old at the time, but whatever. Let's see. But those, yeah, those are just a few of the examples. The writing was just better back then. Nowadays you have Nickelodeon shows that now those shows weren't perfect, but nowadays you have Nickelodeon shows that are just so horrible, like the Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Don show with those four quadruplets. The writing in that one is just so bad. Ugh, I watched one episode and I didn't want to watch it again. And of course there's Henry Danger. Ew. And there was Sanjay and Craig. What the fuck was that shit? Ugh. Just toilet humor all the time. Like Sanjay even once had a fart baby, which was just a collection of gas in his stomach. Like seriously, you're gonna make him pregnant? Like make him pregnant with a gas baby inside him? That's gross. And just a lot of the Nickelodeon shows nowadays are just crap. I can't think of a good one. Like after 2008, Nickelodeon was actually still going strong even in the 2000s, but after 2007 and 2008, it just got worse. Even the live action shows were good, but then after a while they just dipped. Drake and Josh finished strong, but iCarly and Victorious did not. Zoe 101 finished strong though, kind of. But yeah, Nickelodeon used to be good, but now it's just crap. And then not just that, Disney and Cartoon Network have gone so much worse over the years too. They all used to be very good, equally so. When I was a kid, I could not pick between what to watch, what channel to watch. They were all so good. They all had good shows. But now they're all crap. And they're kind of the reason why I don't watch TV anymore. I really don't watch TV. I can't even remember the last time I watched TV. The only time I watch TV is when my mom's watching the Golden Girl reruns, and I like the Golden Girls. It's a nice show, but I won't really watch it until unless my mom's also watching it. So, whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's that. So, and yeah, Ash never really studied all that much. Gary studied, and you can tell because he was a better trainer than Ash. Like his Eevee once beat Ash's Pikachu. It was a very strong Eevee. I'm like, damn. But yeah. But yeah, all the shows back then used to be good. Most of them anyway. Then they just got worse over time. Oh good, 4 people are watching. Okay, I think that's all I can rant about for today. I can't think of anything else to rant about. I'm getting kind of tired. I think I ranted about everything I needed to rant about. Well, in that case, I guess I'll just end the stream then. Unless somebody else wants to point out, like I can rant about one more thing. But I don't know what. If somebody wants to tell me or ask me anything that I might know about, you want me to rant about it, I'll rant about it. Okay. Let me look through the chat. Okay, let's see. I'm glad you guys even watch, even though I'm not playing any games. I'm glad you guys watched my stream. And I know I saw some of you here, but I didn't get a chance to acknowledge you because I was talking so much. Like Naeem, I like Naeem. I saw you. I wanted to say hi to you, but for some reason I forgot to. And I didn't get a chance to say hi to DDZ either. I got a chance to talk to him though. But yeah, Ash Ketchum does eventually get competent in Pokemon. He was as to me he was Ash Ketchum was at his most competent in Diamond and Pearl and XYZ. He was his absolute worst in the original, which is to be expected, and Black and White. Because in Black and White he just forgot everything he learned. And I'm just like, yeah, cool. Yeah, for watching, but at least people are watching. I'm happy about that, especially since this is just a rant stream. Okay, well, I don't know what else to rant about. I even looked at the chat. I guess I'll just stop here. I'm actually getting kind of tired and it's getting a bit late. So, I will just stop here. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Well, both. Well, more listening, but you know what I mean. Thank you all so much for watching. This was really fun. I got tired really quickly though. I got a decent amount of sleep this time. Like 7 hours. Preferably 8 I should get, but 7 hours is I can function on 7 hours, but I got tired anyway. But yeah, this was fun. Glad you guys enjoyed it. A lot of people watched, it seems, so that's great. But again, I must end it. Life. Yep, that's life. Okay, anyway, I'm Ruler15. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, where I'll probably play Final Fantasy VII. I don't really feel like starting a new game before Just Dance 2018 comes. But Just Dance 2018 is going to come. I will make sure of that because GameFly hasn't told me that they've gotten the game yet. I sent it out. I knew I should have sent it out on Monday instead of Tuesday because that's just a day late, and I think that might have I don't know, or maybe it's just something with their system. I don't know. But anyway, it is. I did send it a day late though. But yeah, I'm sure that I'm getting Just Dance 2018. So hopefully we can get that sometime this week. If not, I'll just do Final Fantasy VII in the meantime. I don't feel like starting a different game. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I am TeamRuler15. Thank you all so much for listening to my stream. I hope you found it entertaining and thought-provoking and insightful. I hope. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Oh, bye, Tracy and Scott and everyone else who's watching. Bye.